Hi.
So, you all thought we were done with Great Ace Attorney. You all thought that the streets were done. No! No, they're
We're
not!
starting right now. We're starting right now, at this very moment. It's time.
So, yeah. So there are still a few more things in the Great Ace Attorney collection, to still look at. Mainly from here, of course, you guys have seen these costumes several times throughout the playthrough, so I don't think we need to show these off anymore, over here. But there's, the accolade stuff, which I don't get, of, like, apparently it's weird. Like, if you technically resume from doing part of a selection in a chapter, or, like, use story mode, these don't count? Or something? This is weird. It's a little weird of how these are, how the game tracks these. I don't get this one, like, in here for, like, that. Yeah, it's odd. It's really odd. But the main thing, that we're here, we might do escapades one other time in another stream. I still don't know about these yet at this point, because there are 8 of them, and that's kind of a lot. And these, apparently, from what I hear, are kind of long. So, maybe. We do got some downtime between our next big series, so maybe. I don't know.
Have you announced what that is yet, or did I forget?
The next big one is going to be Fire Emblem Echoes. That's going to be the next big one that we have. In terms of the secondary stream, I don't know yet. There is a tease on A Hat in Time, 2 getting announced pretty soon, so maybe a revisit on the first game, maybe? I don't know, but,
yes, the mischievous Hat Kid of Murder.
Bye, Dialga. I'm just gonna say right now, I appreciate the support. Don't be in this stream if you haven't played Ace Attorney in a long time, because we are dying. This is a spoiler-heavy stream. We are going to be talking everything about DGS 1 and 2 throughout this as we go through the art gallery and stuff like that. So, just as a heads up, because we're able to go through the vault and all the DGS 2 stuff, so yeah, there's going to be no restrictions throughout this.
Did you play Ace Attorney? No. Did you watch Did you watch any streams or Let's Plays on Ace Attorney? No. Oh, get out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Shoo!
Amaguchi? But, okay. So, at this point, I think probably, let's maybe do the auditorium first, I think, and then work our way to gallery. I think would maybe be a little bit more interesting on that. So, I think voice recitals we did the last time.
It's all from the first game.
Yeah, though I believe there's some unused lines in the instrumental stuff, so we can take a listen to those when we get to them. But
yeah, I checked those. It mostly recites certain lines of dialogue, though it seems to be purely from the first game as well.
I think so, yeah. So I am going to turn up the Elgato sound for this part, just because, for whatever reason, the collection's a little quiet around this part, and I don't quite get why. But, so, I really want to go into these, because these are really interesting, because we get both the unused versions and, Kitagawa, talking about each track. So, this piece basically has become the main theme for the game. It's played in almost all the promo videos and event scenes. I must have composed several dozen options for this theme, but I think there's something like 12, I think, for... I still do really like the ejection theme for DGS. I don't know where it would have ranked necessarily on my list yet.
The objection theme of this game is one that definitely grew on me the further I got into the series. I remember the first time I heard it, I just went, yeah, it's okay. The further we got along, the more I actually grew to like it. So now, at this point, I actually do like it a lot.
Yeah. Brandon, for a character list, I don't know, because it's weird in Ace Attorney just because there's so many and there's like all the witnesses and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, like who counts and who doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I mean, if you were to ever do one just to make it simpler, I would just say stick to main characters.
Yeah, the probably main characters most likely would be that, but I don't know. I feel like Ace Attorney's not exactly a series I feel comfortable tier listing sort of deal, just because it's weird. Like Ace Attorney is character focused, but not as much as like to make a tier list kind of deal. You know, everybody kind of fulfills the role that they need to, sort of thing.
Also, if Ashworth is not the best prosecutor, you're doing it wrong.
Alright, so the other ones, the scrapped version of Ryunosuke's personal being the intro only. This was early on in development cycle, so I was exploring various avenues. Initially, I wrote the theme intro and played it for Mr. Takumi, but the piece never went any further than that.
It's a nice jingle. I think it works better as like a title screen more than an objection.
Yeah, could play that again because it was a little short. Like, I like this little part here.
There's one theme in here that I actually think he's gonna say he got it almost on his first try.
It's like, ah,
so
which we hear hit the first rendition of it, you just go, oh, that's extremely close to what we got.
So this one, the second version, I wrote this at the point when we decided to try and include a lot of Japanese elements into the game. So I made heavy use of takio drums and other Japanese percussion instruments. Like, it's getting a little closer to... Oh my gosh, that is super short. Yeah, I feel like I like one more on this one. This one feels a little less confident, I would say.
I do feel like the idea of the instrument was incorporated more into Susato's objection thing for the second game.
Yeah.
Like the idea behind it.
So now version 3. This was composed at the end of the intensive intro composition period. I wrote it with the previous title screens in mind, but it was rejected in the end because it didn't have enough of a strong Great Ace Attorney vibe. This one feels very late in crossover, I would say.
It ain't.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, another really short one. Get it? Okay, gets Charlie. Alright, so chord in session for Great Ace Attorney 1. The opening theme was based on one of Mr. Meiba? Is that? Meiba's unsuccessful attempts. If his work hadn't been scrapped, I'm quite certain this theme would never have seen the light of day. So, you know. Interesting on that. So, the unused version.
Speaking of the unused one.
Yeah. I initially began composing this without looking at any visuals on this title, drawing inspiration from the very first Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game. But the solemn majesty of the in-game graphics wasn't a good fit. So, yep, it was dropped. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this sounds very early. This sounds very normal Ace Attorney.
It's like, sees the actual graphics. Oh shit, no.
This one feels like it would be definitely in the DS, 3DS era. Like, I would say. Yeah. It's not a bad one. Like, kind of deal, but yeah, I can see why.
I think most.
Oh man, this really is an Ace Attorney stream. I'm cooking dinner.
I think most of the unused are like simple jingles, and then they're like, no, we need to make this kind of different and more grander.
Yeah. So, Adventure of the Beginning, the opening anime scene. I had many failed attempts to create something that properly portrayed the feel of this era in the game that was set. This version was used in the end because it was actually the first one I wrote. That happens a lot in game development. And then, the unused version. I composed this with heavy emphasis on elegant and refined feel, with an influx of Western culture and influence that I had in the time period. This piece was a good fit, but I felt it went a little too far in that direction, so it was dropped. Yeah, I feel like this one's got a lot more ominous vibe than the original one.
Ooh, look at this mysterious prime bee.
He's going into unknown territory. Watch out, boys.
And Susato's theme. This piece is an expression of Susato's warmth and ladylike air, with a hint of fight thrown in. It was composed deliberately, step by step, with both Mr. Takumi and Mr. Kitagawa, while making it one of the most carefully thought out themes in the game. And yeah, good place to put that, because I definitely say Susato's is one of my favorite ones in the track, in both games OST, honestly, for that. So, the unused version. The truth is, I had little competition with Mr. Meva when I composed this theme, and I lost. But I can accept defeat, secure in the knowledge I created the perfect piece to match Susato's image. Yeah, I can see why the other... This one isn't bad, but I don't get Susato from this one, like, as much, I would say.
Good track, but not a Susato track.
I feel like this would be better for Remember Me, maybe?
Maybe.
Remember me?
I feel for a Japanese girl, Susato's maybe is like actual warmth and like nice sense.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that it was like a competition. You're like, God dang it.
Alright.
Man, I lost.
Alright, so reminisce to the flashback in the cafe. What's going to happen now? It's a new case. It's a serious new case. That's really the idea that waxes and wanes throughout this piece. So, yeah, not much to say on that one. The unused version. It's building up the serious incident, so maybe it's a little too positive and a bit lacking in tension. In other words, it's no good.
I think it's the added flute.
Yeah, I think the flute is making it a little too positive. I can kinda see that, yeah.
For positive thinking and my attorney, get that out of here.
Okay, and tell the truth. I'm always nervous whenever I have to compose the Truth Revealed theme. I tried a few options, but by the third iteration, I hit something that felt right. That's this tune. I would say this one took a while to grow on me. This one. Because the first time I was like, it's okay. I think mostly by the time we got to DGS2, I started to really like this one a lot more, I would say.
The DGS2 definitely tries more organ-based like tunes like this one.
Yeah, like, so it fits a little bit more in that soundtrack kind of deal.
Yeah. Especially once you get into more of the professor stuff and be like, oh
god, I cannot wait to hear the professor's theme again in here. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Might actually be my favorite track in DGS2, honestly.
Understandable. It's a good track,
tier.
sir.
Yeah. Let's look at these three other versions.
Two. Okay. This was my first attempt at the Truth Revealed theme. Reviewing the feedback I received, there was a comment that was repeating strong refrains was a little monotonous. It was, and listening to it now, the piece lacks impact, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say this feels more like a you got countered theme, kind of deal than, like, you know, we're no, in Earth, normal Ace Attorney it would be that
fear-shattering thud.
Yeah. Yeah. So the second one, there was a fantastic feel for the first half that worked really well, but the piece came out little too lively later on, so it was dropped. Quite often I start enjoying myself too much during composition and it goes awry.
Yo, I feel that.
Oh no, I'm going too hard.
Yeah, I want to hear what the second half of this one is like. And I just want to make sure, Chad, it's also audio good for you guys, because, yeah. Yeah, I like that first part, but I kind of see what he means. Like, this part doesn't feel as good for a true theme. This part,
it's
like,
too happy.
Yeah. A most mysterious mood. This piece uses intriguing blends of strings and woodwinds to create a piece that blends seamlessly with the wonderful narration being used to set the scene of this mysterious event. Yeah. Okay, so the intro theme to each case, yeah. The unused version, it was suggested to be that this was more creepy than mysterious, so it had to go! Yeah. I'd say this would maybe work around, like, the professor stuff when we get to that in DGS too, but yeah, for the first game, I can kind of see why.
It is missing a few instruments, it feels.
Yeah. And then Iris's theme. This is the ever-cheerful Iris's signature tune, so it was to have a steampunk feel. I was concerned how to achieve that with a principally orchestrated piece.
Is Iris's theme like the only one with not a reused lead motif? I feel like it.
I think so, because yeah, I don't think Iris's theme is ever brought back in another song.
Yeah.
No, well, also that's because I think there's aren't that many moments that revolve around Iris specifically until we get to like case 4?
Which
DGS 2, that's when Iris gets more involved.
But even then, she's used like they use more Baskerville tracks kind of for that. So yeah.
I have to wonder. I have to remember the Baskerville stuff is in here. Then maybe we can compare.
Yeah.
Like, does it have some of her?
I do remember this one being kind of interesting. Hearing Iris with an energetic character, I thought that a synthesizer might be a good fit to might fit the bill perfectly. So everything in this version, including the drums and full synth, but didn't quite feel right. Yeah, and I would say this one feels very Ace Attorney 6 in particular. Like, I think a lot of Emma's theme, kind of, when I hear the instruments in this one.
Alright, you take that back.
No, I'm just saying, like, in terms of the instruments, that's what I do, like, kind of think of for, like, the feel of this version. It also kind of sounds like a Mario Party minigame now that I'm hearing it.
Yeah, we gotta put this on a Mario Party game.
Like, you guys hear it too, right?
Yeah, I do hear it, but actually, I like this version too.
Well, like, this one's good as well, kind of deal. But it's just kind of interesting, because this one's only really changed by the instrumentation, kind of deal, rather than the actual track being different.
It feels a lot more techno, which might not really fit.
Yeah, it wouldn't fit the time period as well.
Yeah. Time for the goat.
Alright, something elegant but emotional, but also elegant was the request. This piece tries to capture Cosmo's inner strength and moving gallant character. If you listen closely, you may feel the keen edge of Kurama, perhaps? Yeah, Cosmo's theme, still, real good. Real good.
This track. I love how they evolved this track by DGS2.
Oh, I hope that one's in this vault. I really hope so. So the scrapped version, Mr. Takumi and Nuri pointed out this version sounding something like you may hear in public baths in the Roken Hotel. Come to think of it, it does sound kind of generic, like the mood music in the public bath chain, so it had to go.
Dang!
Yeah. Like, I feel like this is like a background theme rather than a character theme for this one, you know?
Two bros chilling in the public bath.
When they get back to Japan.
Yeah, this definitely feels like you would hear this when someone's telling you something important rather than like
a character like moment.
Yeah.
You know, the sort of deal, yeah.
Just say, alright, Vino, okay, listen up. You listening? Boy, you listening? Don't make me slap you.
Jesus, flag. God. Alright, investigation. This kind of steady melody is very hard to get right. The song does develop, but the tension in it creates the same throughout, so no matter where it had to be cut off, it has the same impact. Boom, boom, boom.
It's just that kind of background music that gets stuck in your head.
It's this part I love. Like, do. I love the like long lingers on the notes kind of deal. It's like my favorite part of this. Alright.
Is this? I feel this.
Yeah, something.
I don't know. I think this is the track where I really like its tune, but I understand why it was cut out.
This was rejected the moment it was heard. I knew it had a different feel for the rest of the soundtrack, so I took it to Takumi with some trepidation, thinking, well, it's a bit hard-boiled, but. Yo, I kind of vibe with this one.
Yeah, it's a really nice, but I understand why it wasn't.
It doesn't sound DGS at all, kind of deal. But I really like this track.
I would definitely keep it to use it for something else later.
Yeah, I can.
This feels like it should be in like the investigations games kind of deal. Like if you're playing as Gumshoe or something. You know.
I love he's like, it's a bit off, but maybe it might get, and then Takumi's like, no.
Alright.
Like, you know what? Maybe he'll like the track enough to know. No.
Go back.
Try again.
Alright. So, Strongheart theme. First impressions visually, the Lord Chief Justice can only be described as intimidating. I recall being actually aware of the intimidation as I was composing this theme. I felt like I was doing altitude training. Like, Strongheart's theme's okay. It's not one of my favorites of the soundtrack, though. You know.
It fits the character.
Yeah, that's kind of all it does. For some reason, I felt a burden of fate placed on my shoulders by Strongheart as I composed this theme. Why? I have no idea, but imagination is a powerful thing.
He's T-posing for dominance.
I kind of like this one more, honestly, I feel.
It might be a bit too ominous.
Like, maybe more for DGS2. Like, this theme might fit a little bit more. For Strongheart in that game.
This track has too much hope in it. That is Strongheart.
Alright, Arrival. Okay, the anime scene, yeah. I drew elements from Should's theme for the first half, and the elements of Virus theme for the second half of this composition. I hope you agree that they came together quite well in the end.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay, so...
Iris Levo teeth.
Let's hear it again. See if we could hear Iris's theme in that. Okay, yeah, I can kind of hear it in there. It's not as pronounced, I would say.
Yeah.
This composo brings out a nice warm feeling, but the piece needed to really invoke the delight of arriving at Shom's place of residence, so it was only after adding even more upbeat feel that the eventual composition was accepted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that. Like, Gina's theme. Gina's a bluesy but writingly inner city girl, but somehow there's a hint of class? No, I feel like it comes across sometimes maybe refined, even though that idea is in there somewhere too. Gina's is still one of my favorite themes of the whole soundtrack, straight up. Like, easy top 10 track. Now I'm curious about this scratch version. I produced quite a number of different variants of Gina's theme. The inner city overtones of this one were a little too strong, detracting from the Viva Gnocious I was after. So I kept some elements and reworked others. Yeah.
It's almost there.
Yeah, it's like, I think it just needs a few more instruments on this one, yeah.
You can feel it.
Then the end of Trial. As it plays at the end of the trial when you're arriving at the verdict, I was conscious needing to draw the elements to the other court-related pieces. It was a challenge, but it put me under quite a lot of stress.
Ah, so this was the stress one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then, even though this sounds like the makings of a fitting piece, it was slightly lacking against the grandiose nature of the adjudication scene, so it didn't make the grade. Yeah, this one's kind of lacking punch, I would say.
I feel like these more used pieces, it's kind of more like they got something and like, let's go the other direction.
Yeah. And the title screen you're presented with just when the game starts, but also when Ryunosuke comes into his element. It's a sort of bridge between Ryunosuke's objection theme plays. And then, Overture's objection. This ended up being too familiar to Ryunosuke's objection theme, so it wasn't used. It has energy somewhere between Ryunosuke's personal theme and the version of Overture into Adventures that was eventually used. This feels like a weird bootleg version, because it's like it's almost there!
It makes sense that...
I'm kind of surprised that's the end of the DGS1 stuff, kind of, for that, because, like, not even the, Pursuit theme is on here at all.
I guess they got Gregson's one on first try, too.
Yeah, I guess.
Even... Blocks!
Ticker, Japanese, Nizero,
Oh, the TIE Fighter would have been interesting.
Yeah. Diminish? Ah, yeah.
Ah!
You know what? I think having both of those sound effects could have worked depending on depending on the environment you're in.
Yeah. Alright, and then the jingle?
Like maybe the typewriter one could have been maybe the typewriter one could have been used when you're when you're in like a comedy area, but when you're entering an important area with an important scene, that they put up the ba 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 ba
Yeah.
ba ba. Like, all right, pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. That one doesn't feel, it feels like it's a little too lingering kind of deal. This one.
But you can feel the will. like a lingering will, perhaps.
Yep. It's yeah. Doesn't quite sound right, yeah.
It sounds like a fighting sound effect.
Oh, okay, yeah. Strong art.
In fact, it's got a beta clock wheels thing.
Oh, yeah, this is when the cat gets stuck in the violin, right? Yeah.
A very important sound effect. Not the right amount of cringe.
Okay, so yeah, this is what I was talking about before. These are extra voice lines, I believe from TGS1, that just went unused, kind of deal, so... these are all in English, by the way, so...
Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. Nothing can deceive
I'm
Mr.
guessing these
Sholmes.
are like for promotional
In a single
material,
glance,
probably.
He can deduce all there
People
is to
check,
know about
these are
the
actual lines from the
It's
game.
quite true.
Yeah.
I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his art firsthand. It really is a dream come true.
The British.
Oh my gosh, that's a really long line, god. Schultz?
You know times, Mr. Naruhodo. I think that though I have an undeniable
Sholmes SMR.
protection, I may well be even more adept at larceny.
Okay.
And then, in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be, Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo?
Of course they will. I have absolute
Oh.
faith in you.
Oh.
How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work?
I remember that lot.
Hold on. I want to hear her
Headlines will
impression
be
again.
Discharge
On that.
Diver is
Couldn't do that, I
Dorcas
get it.
do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo?
Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you.
How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it?
I wish Iris got more voice lines kind of deal, because I can hear her voice actress having fun.
Seeing how good these VAs were, it kind of made me yearn like a fully voiced Ace Attorney or something.
Like the one reason I would want like an anime adaptation is just to hear these guys more kind of deal.
You've become conceited with age, Council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Ouchie clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo
The
clan.
what clan?
The Ouchie clan?
The Ouchie clan?
That's how it's pronounced, Ouchie.
Oh,
You
that's
sound
unfortunate.
so cool
Oh,
that
that's
he's called Ouchie.
unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Alright, Van Zeke's lines?
Those eyes of yours, young Nipponese, they shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb.
Alright.
What
Reno?
is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like
Oh yeah,
this
this is
before.
like case 1.
It's a sort of conviction to break down all the lies and deception. Oh, it's so intense. Almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Weird
the
some
then
weird
the
Reno AMSR right there.
You see, you feel it's a really good build-up, and then the objection actually happens.
Objection! It's like the one line I wish they did another version on. It's like the one line!
The VA is good, but why did you make the most important one very
Alright, Susato?
The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I'd lost a little of my faith in the law. I was worried that
Oh, this is
right
the end of
person
DGS
wouldn't
1.
be
Yeah.
convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
So I'm guessing some of these lines might have been of like they were trying to do the last part of the first game voiced too? Maybe?
I have to check if they have Japanese versions of this for
Yeah,
Mrs. Sato, I'd hoped to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world.
Yeah, that's another right at the end of DGS 1 too, as well. So, alright, now, DGS 2 stuff at this point! Okay. Alright, so, for this piece,
really good.
I incorporated the melody of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, Prelude to Adventures from the first game in the main theme of the second game, Partners. It was my hope that you can feel the resolve just from listening to this theme alone. Yeah, I like this one more than the first game's title screen as well, I would say. Don't worry, the spell theme is in here, I did check, so...
It's more oomph.
The unused version. This was the very first version of the theme. There's nothing wrong with it musically, per se, but when it's being played, I thought perhaps it would be better to make the melody distinctly audible from the start, so I cut the first 30 seconds or so from this.
Compare?
Yeah, it doesn't feel as punchy, I would say, in that one.
Slice it!
Alright. I borrowed this melodic phrase from Ryunosuke's theme this time, well, for the little prologue pieces, but can you tell which part is which? Alright. I think I was on the think I was on the right track with this, but if you compare the final version, it severely lacks a certain spark to get players in the mood to start playing. All it really delivers on is the sense of splendor and elegance. Yeah! Gotta see on that one. Alright, great exhibition. My intention with this was to compose a piece that is befitting of the World Expo whilst keeping it light and fun, without straying it too much into comedic. In the unused version, I'm sure we'll meet something like this I thought when I composed this piece in secret, but before I knew it, Mr. Teriyama's version was chosen. What in the world Expo's happened?
It's just like you gave it too late.
I do like this one.
I just find it funny. It's like, I have a secret piece. Let me show you. Oh, we already chose the one? Aww. There's a fun quirk on that one. Yeah. This one.
Alright, Professor Hairbrain's theme. Thinking about the times when Hairbrain really gets going on his hypothesis, you realize that he's a very emotional character whose mood flips quick as a switch. It's a dynamic personality that I tried to capture in this piece.
And voices.
God.
It's a fun piece.
Yeah. On the unused version.
Listen, the man is very passionate about his work.
This is the first version of Hairbrain's theme, based on keywords such as scientists and Van Zeke's friends. Listening to this, I think it's safe to say the final version fits Hairbrain best. I'm glad I went back and reworked this piece from scratch. Yeah, this one sounds a lot more dark than
he's a friend of Van Zeke, so he must be darker.
Yeah. Oh. Like, this feels like it could be, Clint's theme, in a way, honestly.
I mean, to be honest, when you hear scientist also his friend of Von Zieg's, I'm not surprised he went down this route the first time.
Yeah. Top tier track in DGS2 right here.
Oh, the notes for this one is interesting.
You'll know what I mean if you take a listen to the scrapped version, but I initially wrote her theme based on the mysterious and bewitching looks. Once I learned her personality, I realized it had been completely wrong track, and she'd been more an eccentric type, so I reworked this piece from scratch. And if we listen to the scrapped version, I wrote this piece solely based on her appearance, which only reaffirmed me to the importance of always double-checking your facts before you start. I'm usually very good about it, so I don't know... So why I didn't do it this one time, I'll never know. Yeah.
When you feel very confident, but you just go, oh, wait a minute.
Like, wait.
Yeah, no. I like this one way more.
Essentially, do more research on what you're working on.
I love Madison Spell's theme. It's so good. Alright, murky, mysterious intentions. Considering what the scene when this is used, I would have been completely simple to make this sound cold and tense, but I gave it an extra layer of richness by adding some strings to the mix, lending to its piece of story-like quality. What's this scene played again?
Theme accompanied from when the Green Killer's identity come to light. That's what it says.
I don't remember this track though, like at all.
Considering it was it's labeled under DGS2, then it must be from like the more back end of the game. But yeah.
Very end of 2-3? Okay.
Oh! It was probably when I think it was during when Size was explaining things.
Ah. This was the thing you expect strings to be used if you want to instill fear to a listener, but apparently this wasn't the direction we were going for, so I had to set it aside. Perhaps it was a bit too scary. Swirling void of nothingness. This slightly unusual piece among the tracks for the game, when I laid eyes on the weary form of Daily Vigil, a plain and simple sound repeating monetary spring to life. The sound that has crystallized the light tapping of a glass lamp you hear in this version. I'm
about to jump out a window.
I'm I'm fond of this piece, but listening to it again, it's too weighty and grounded for what we needed. I think it's a big reason why it was rejected. Yeah, I still like this one. I like this one too.
It's funny, this one is like most of the unused is like, we need more oomph. This one, take away the oomph.
Take away the oomph. Yeah. Oh no.
There's a beta version for this song. It's very important, guys.
This is a acapella song that was recorded at Sholmesbra for some unknown reason. I hope you'll find it to be the right dash of flavor for the story. The unused version. Oh, okay. Just an instrumental one. I thought about including the instrumental accompaniment during the final draft of this piece. I also changed the melody slightly, but I hope you'll have fun with this different version nonetheless. Yeah, I think this one kind of fits that scene in particular better, of just adding to the what the hell factor of it kind of deal.
Don't worry, we can use this beta version for the Ace Attorney Orchestral because it was very important to put that song in the...
This is still the one track in the... Probably all of Ace Attorney that I'm just going, huh, what? But then we see the scene as a tattoo, just go, oh, I get it.
Oh,
look at me in bed with shows where he just goes, Runosuke, why did I buy this?
I love this track so much.
I mustered everything I had left to bring this piece into the world after 2 other ones that I poured my soul into got rejected. I knew it would have to build anticipation and excitement, but the ideas wouldn't come. I also remember agonizing over how to balance the flavor of this situation, the situation or Ryunosuke's feelings.
I'll say for I think it's the first unused one. I wish the first unused was used for like a different scene or something, because it's really good too.
I was determined to create something extraordinary for Ryunosuke's and Kazuma's epic battle that I ended up going a bit overboard. Using motifs from both of their themes, I thought I'd make a very thick and rich piece. Alas, it didn't feel right for Kazuma's theme to come in first, and it was too emotional, so it didn't make the grade.
Oh, I like this track.
Yeah, I think I wish this one would fit at it, like, maybe, like, at the point where Kazuma starts kind of fighting back, in the trial.
I think considering when Revival of the Prosecutor is used to do his dark turn, this could have been used for when he's kind of like, okay, kind of going back into the light or something.
Yeah.
That or maybe like the very end of the trial.
Yeah.
Or something. Because it's really good.
Yeah. The second version, reflecting on what I'd done in my previous attempt, I tried to be passionate yet tempered version. However, this time, I put too much emphasis on the situation and the piece became less memorable as a result. It's really hard to find just the right balance, isn't it? Oh, this one sounds very crossover on this one.
It's a lot closer to the final one, at least. I like that little jingle.
Yeah. Alright.
Jump into another OP piece.
A certain duo's theme. The first piece I composed for Resolve, and it's the one that has a lot of memories for me. Mr. Takumi had asked me to come up with a cool theme, but that simple yet deep request left me stumped as, what makes something cool? As it turns out, tap dancing was just the right thing to truly become a musical face of Resolve.
Tap dancing!
Yeah, I would still say this is, like, this is probably still the best track from DGS2, easily,
It's a reason why they used it in the trailers a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, this was a little bit fun to me just because it's that scenario of you're sitting in a room throwing ideas and like the director and telling you what he wants. All right, so we need a thing for this. All right, what do you want? Make it cool. Great. What does that mean? I don't know. You figure it out.
And then and Holmes' leitmotif comes in. I really like how it's orchestrated here. Like it's a lot more it's a lot more faster and spicier here.
Yeah. Now the unused version. This is the first piece of result that I showed to Mr. Takumi. How does it compare with the final version? I don't think it's bad on its own, but considering when it's played, the final version is much more exciting. This sort of process is how each game puts me to the test. Also, this version is from before we recorded any tap dancing. It's really close to the original, though.
Yeah.
It just sounds like the original without the tap dancing. I just want to ask her, what was the moment when you just realized tap dancing?
I wonder who came up with that, like, kind of deal. Was that, like, a story thing? Was that an animator thing? Was that a musical thing? Like...
I think they might have explained it for Migatoba's character sheet.
Okay, we'll see when we get to his sheet later on in here.
Prelude.
Yep. God.
Again,
it's like I thought the pursuit theme in DGS1 was just kind of okay. I know it's the same one in 2, but just adding the prelude part makes it 10 times more hype when it actually comes in, kind of deal.
Yep. Prelude may be like the pursuit theme a lot more. Cause like, build up. It was like, I never knew I needed this until they gave it to me. I just go, oh.
Like, the first thing you hear it for the first time, you're like, shit.
This
is the epitome of. Why do I hear boss music?
This is why do I hear boss music? Pursuit theme is fuck, I hear boss music. If you've heard this somewhere before, you're correct. This piece is an arrangement of Pursuit of Great Turnabout. I conceive it as a vamp to signal the full-on pursuit, but I thought as I wrote it, I could be used to ratchet up the tension during an investigation segment as well. Then the scrapped version, though this piece did eventually get used and resolved, I actually written it during the development of Adventures and left it to age like wine for a few years. I feel like this version had good points precisely because it had the basic idea down, so it was something I could fully develop and realize for Resolve.
So yeah, this was actually planned for the first game as well.
Yeah, but listen how close he got it. That's what shot me. I just think, yo, that's really close.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to use this, please, Takumi. Let me.
Please. It's gonna be the hypest shit. Watch. Please.
Oh, speaking of hypest shit, the one track that only used near it plays only one part, the very last scene of the trial.
Yeah. Alright, a new pursuit for Resolve was the starting point for this piece, but to me, a great turnabout was already it, so I tried to going down a different tangent and wound up with a pursuit-style arrangement for Ryunosuke's theme. So how did I do it? I hope I succeeded in making you shout yes the moment it started playing. Yeah, no, that's so good. This track is so good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, both you guys in chat. I think this is the only pursuit theme in Ace Attorney that actually utilizes the objections theme in it. Because I don't remember any other pursuit theme in Ace Attorney that also has the main objections theme also tied into it.
Yeah, this entire part here is like my favorite part of the track.
Yeah. It's like, oh, let's go.
Yo, holograms!
Buckingham Palace hype!
dance all over Strongheart's grave.
T-pose on him. Okay, I want to hear the part again. I want to hear the part again, because, like, it's so good. It's, like, after this part, I think.
Here we go.
Hey, look who's here!
Oh. Who is he? Oh, ED, Andy. This part! It's so good! It's so good! Alright, now the unused version. The middle section is different here, making a quieter, more subdued version, far less melodic movement than the final version. When you reflect on this, when this is used, the final version just really does shine much brighter, doesn't it? I like that. Like that instrument.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same punch, like, for that moment.
I think this one was trying to go for a bit more, like, we'll slowly make it louder, while Pursuit's like, let's bam! Immediately.
Yeah. Alright, victory, one last great win. This piece holds many memories for me that I can't even put them into words. My intention here was to make it feel like a further developed version of Mr. Kitagawa's victory theme from Adventures.
Did it.
Alright, and then, compared to the final version, this feels a lot like it has every bit of emotion, doesn't it? Well, except anger, I guess, lol. The final phrase felt like it belonged as a Great Ace Attorney, the Great Victory piece I transpired its slightly different form than the final version. Yeah, I don't think this one feels as great as, like, final sort of deal.
Yeah.
I do like it, though.
It feels more of a let's go and less of, like, we did it.
Yeah.
Yay.
This piece sounds to me less like a Great Ace Attorney track and more like a track that I would have heard in, like, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I like both, but
yeah. Alright, Baker Street Ball for the Waltz of Chronicles. This piece that exudes the warmth of 221 Baker Street was commissioned for the credits of Chronicles. It'd been a few years since my last outing in the series, and I wasn't confident I could produce a piece that didn't simply ruin everything that come before, but I guess some things just stick with you forever. Yeah, I think this was mostly used for the trailers and stuff like that when talking about, like, the vault and stuff like that. That's when they used this theme.
Yeah, just like, here's a bonus.
Nah, this one!
Now, speaking of bonuses.
Yeah. There's something about the second tap dance appearing in the piece Partners, the game is afoot, let's dance, my dear fellow. Surely the other person couldn't be. Could it? Well, you won't know unless you try slotting each character you think into this situation. The accordion and violin solos are not to be missed. Yeah, I love this version as well. Like, we're probably not gonna stay on it long enough, but, like, when it goes into the tap dance, solo part.
It's like a tap dance off.
Yeah.
Also, the beginning feels a lot more tango-like.
Yeah. But you gotta works for the situation, you know, when this theme shows up.
I can tap dance better than you.
I wish the Professor's theme was in here, though, because that track is so good. But, yeah, feels like some tracks are weirdly missing from this one, from, like the Vault, honestly.
It seems like they only put in those that actually have unused versions, which is weird. Just because I feel like there were some tracks they could have gotten this on the first try or something.
Yeah. So now let's head off into the art book now. So yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of stuff here from Kazuya. Is it Yuri? Yuri?
Yuri? Yeah.
Nuri, something like that, yeah.
Nuri.
Nuri, okay. So here's the hero of the whole show, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The main concern here is to strike a good balance between the period look of someone out of the Meiji era and believable ancestor to the protagonist of the main Ace Attorney games, Phoenix Wright. I started off with the Stoic University student uniform befitting the period, but I didn't want to be too generic, so I altered the cut of the back and the sleeves and added in the suit of Japan into the world of the Great Ace Attorney. The buttons on the back are a unit, and I drew the jacket in to create smart sleeve lines. So, oh, there we go. So yeah. See, it's a little more tight fit than like some school uniforms and stuff like that. So.
I think it was mentioned that Susato suited like a lucky charm onto Naruhodo's back by the third case, and that's the little flower at the eye. That's cute.
Ah. This picture was drawn for Ryunosuke's principal in core camera angle. He has drawn the sword because, well, I want to see what it would look like. Yeah! Even though he never actually uses the sword, it just puts his hand on it for most of the trials, but yeah.
The eyebrows are very fixed.
But if you ever held it, what would that look like?
Probably would clumsily throw it around, most likely, because I don't think he's ever used a sword in his life.
According to some art books, like some drawings in the art book that didn't make it into this collection, he does know how to use the bow, and that's kind of the reason why he has like the slash on his like right arm that's supposed to be used for bow strings. So.
Ah, okay. This is Ryunosuke's
takes it off.
Traveling to Britain outfit. I include the school cap and cape as they lend a obvious period air, being so different from modern clothing. Hey, I wish he got to actually wear this more, kind of deal.
Maybe when they're out in investigation.
Yeah.
I like to imagine he's wearing it outside.
These sketches are from very early proposals. No scenarios have been written at the time, so I felt Ryunosuke younger than he ended up being. His hairstyle was more based off his descendants more than faithful to something in the period, yeah. Especially like this, the left ones especially are very Phoenix hairstyles in particular.
How do I make him look like Phoenix while not making him look like Phoenix?
I don't know what's going on with the ones on the right, kind of deal. Like,
it's definitely used for more face trim, but then they go in corn like, wait, this doesn't look right.
Male hairstyles during the period of Meiji Japan were nowhere near as devised as they are today. They were either cropped short, side parted, or swept back. I wrestled with various options to create something that was realistic and faithful to the period and Ryunosuke's personality while still being suggestive to his descendants' manga-styled hair. Yeah, so,
what is
yes,
that?
Okay, I can zoom in and stuff like that, sweet.
What is that bad haircut of Soki look over there?
Like, the one all, like, this one, or that one? This one?
Oh, you had a bad hair day, sir.
Yeah.
Naruto
also,
glasses are cute. It's cute, though.
He kind of looks like a 13 Sentinels character, actually, with the glasses, honestly, with that, you know what I mean?
Here.
Very Goto, I would say, kind of looking. I remember drawing these sketches as a way to distract myself when I was struck on hairstyle. It turns out it came useful when explaining how the game works with the game proposal documents. I like this one, all the way on the right here. Yeah, I can see that one being, the glasses one being kind of Persona looking. Yeah, I can see that. Whilst the overall character design was reasonably uncomplicated, I was conscious that I wanted to convey the unique qualities of the game's world by paying extra attention to fine detail. Every accessory and adornment has personal significance to the character, which was the idea I hoped players would use their imaginations to explore.
Yeah, I think each character has their own, like logo icon.
Yeah. Alright, then Susato, okay.
Like her Sakurai theme.
Yeah. The theme of her design was that the female student who embodied the principles of Yamado Nadachiko, or a personification of the quintessential Japanese woman. So I decided to use the easily identifiable and typically Japanese cherry blossoms as the Mikotomo family crest, influencing the pattern design on her kimono and the hem of her Hakama trousers. The heart of Susano's character is her impeccable upbringing, which I tried to bring out in various elements of her design, from her posture, facial expressions, and quality of her kimono. So, yeah. What's that? I designed Susano's wrap to complement Ryunosuke's traveling clothes. Knowing it would only appear in the anime cutscenes, I decided to keep the design overwhelmingly simple with the exception of the clasp. Yeah, I kind of wish you got to use this in, like, wintertime and stuff like that a little bit more. Just like, I like the little extra bit onto it. It's cute.
I don't know how warm a kimono is in the winter.
Probably not. I don't think it would be very... Because, like, a kimono is usually, like, made of, like, very silky kind of material, right? Like,
yeah, like, I know this specific kimono.
Yeah, that's what... Yeah, but, like, that's why you also wear stuff underneath it.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I know specific kimono was actually used for, like a female working kimono, like, for students back then.
Yeah. I want Susano's hair to be styled appropriately for the period, while at the same time being a little bit out of the ordinary. I ended up with something that looks relatively simple in silhouette, but is actually quite complicated. What? Wrong one. This frontal portrait was drawn while the kimono pattern was being finalized. I tried a great many different designs before arriving at the final one, in order to find a pattern that didn't draw excessive attention. As you can see, like, the hair over here, especially on the side profile, is quite complex for that.
Thank you, character references.
Also, thank you, 3D, because we can get away from doing this without having to draw it 300 times.
Yeah, you only have to draw it one. You only have to model it one time, and then never again. All right. This is very early proposal sketch when it wasn't clear how folksy to make Susano. Later, the parallel with Mr. Takumi's scenario development, I got a better feel for her character and softened her refined young lady. So, yeah, you can definitely see a lot of Remember Me with that one in particular.
She looks a lot younger in these.
Yeah, like, she looks more like Trucy's age, I would say, in these.
The belly's cute, though.
She does kind of have an Isabel hair in these, like, little sketchy ones over here. You see it, right?
Yeah.
This one on the left looks more like a modern girl that likes classic Japanese clothing.
You know what it is? She looks very Studio Ghibli, is what she looks like.
I do like how her actual hairstyle was incorporated into her persona as like a bunny.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Studio Ghibli, yo, Patrick, they make food look tasty.
I think it's especially like the bow makes me think a lot of Kiki. Maybe that's why like I'm immediately thinking Ghibli on that.
Yo, Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah. This image was drawn to help with anime creation. Anime cutscenes form bridges between various scenarios in the game, so it's vitally important to avoid any discrepancy between the renderings of the characters. Yeah, just basic stuff. It's always my intention not to interfere with the anime's artists and their work, but sometimes minor corrections are required. It's a constant dilemma for me. Also factoring in Susano's designs was how she would appear alongside Ryunosuke. In the end, I think that the contrasting conduct varying between the two helps establish a memorable female lead. And, okay, so Sholmes time! Here's the great detective himself, Herlock Sholmes, but how was I going to
It looks a lot cooler in this pose.
Yeah, I know, right? To come up with a design that would satisfy the requested unique take on the classic detective. To begin with, I brought some steampunk elements into the Victorian-era character. Then I tried to create a stylish arrangement of various period elements and some iconic characteristics of the original that I want to preserve. Sholmes' personal crest combines the cogwheel motif of his conductive detective business and a simple flower design of Iris's crest. The cogwheel symbolizes the Industrial Revolution taking place in Britain at the time. There are also overtones of the relationship between Sholmes and Iris in the motif, with Iris the flower, the center, being protected by Mr. Sholmes, the cogwheel, around the outside.
Aww.
I was careful to preserve essential features of the Great Detective, such as the deer stalker and the pipe, arranging them into the character that would be instantly recognizable to all. So yeah, I can see a little bit more of Sholmes' bag right there, stuff like that.
He's just carrying that heavy equipment all the goddamn time.
Sholmes' equipment was the exception to the rule that consists of technology belonging to a much more modern era than the game's setting, and takes place in fantasy in the world of the Great Ace Attorney. The gun Sholmes makes use of in investigations is a percussion revolver that's actually be employed as a regular firearm. The idea to juxtaposition that with Ryunosuke's Japanese katana sword, thereby highlighting the significant difference between the Japanese and European cultures of the day. Yeah. Oh! Yeah, you can see the matches his pipe there. Yeah, didn't notice that.
This gun can look like be used as a murder weapon.
When Sholmes' goggles are turned on, the shape of the center of each eyepiece lights up and rotates. It's supposed to conjure the idea of lens attachment on the camera to complement the detective's investigations. Yeah, we don't see much of, like, the other ones at all, like, throughout. I don't think this pink one was ever used in...
I only remember 2 times the goggles were actually in use.
I know at the beginning of Case 2 in the original game. What else?
I think it like the luminol thing in Case 2 of the second game.
Oh yeah. This is Sholmes' indoor attire, since I assumed he wouldn't be comfortable relaxing.
And also the anime cutscene as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying for like the Case 2 of the original game. Yeah. This is Sholmes' indoor attire, since I assumed he wouldn't be comfortable relaxing at home whilst wearing all his detective paraphernalia. His hair is styled as wisps of smoke to complement his indispensable pipe. Although the usual portrayal of Sholmes is a man with black hair, I wanted to give him a different color to provide some variety next to the hair of Ryunosuke and the other Japanese characters.
I love when he appears in this outfit the first time. Everyone was like, "Oh, Mr. Sholmes."
Yeah, oh, Mr. Holmes.
Oh no, he's hot!
I do love this sketch. This sketch I did for initial proposal document. The image of Sholmes amongst the analyzing evidence played a crucial part of portraying the suit-up role forensic investigation playing the game. The actual character design was not fixed at this stage, even though the general direction had already been decided. I love Sholmes' face here. I don't know why. Like, the energy he's just giving off.
yeah, I can see that.
Like,
considering the actual Mr. Holmes was actually kindly on drugs sometimes.
It's like it's like a state between bored and high as fuck at the same time kind of deal. Like, you know.
Shaggy energy.
I also love Ryunosuke in this picture.
Like, yo, we're still on this case? Like, I solved this case, like, 3 hours ago, bro. Come on, how you not figuring it out, bro?
This is a very early proposal sketch. It was supposed to portray somewhat dark London with heavy steampunk influences. In the end, Sholmes' was diluted, so the design was scrapped. I subsequently settled on the game Sholmes as a man whose striking appearance is only diminished by striking erroneous in his transcendence deductions. So yeah, very, very different Sholmes on this one.
I think I figure out why this early concept bugs me. He looks like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, it does.
The top hat is a bit much.
I do like that iris, though. I think we'll see that one in a little bit.
No, Master Naruhodo, I do not own a chocolate factory.
Please, stop asking me about it.
You say that, but you carry caramel everywhere you go.
And I do, and that's why I can't pay rent this month. There's too much caramel, Mister.
You're here. Wait. Mr. Naruhodo, come here. You did. Who told you? Who told you? That's confidential.
Mikatoba?
Mikatoba!
Well, I'm sorry, you do carry quite a bit of caramel with you.
That's supposed to be our secret!
Oh, come on, we're a family now. You can't keep secrets from the rest of them, now can you?
Where's our Sholmes and Watson prequel game?
I want it really bad. Alright, so Iris now. Iris brings together a number of rather eccentric elements of the game in a subtle and controlled way. At first glance, her hair appears to be tied in a cute style that combines elements of ribbons, bows, and hearts. But in fact, her fringe flows a golden spiral, a logarithmic curve behind each golden ratio.
Imagine animating. Look at Iris, just look at her. Now imagine having to draw that.
I do like this Iris over here. I don't know why. Just like, what appears to be ribbons tied down from a bow in the front, revealed behind to be a Mobius strip, a type of surface with interesting typological proportions, signifying Iris's infinite possibilities. So a number of secret mathematical curiosities have been deliberately hidden in this young child genius's innocent appearance. I decided to make use of the flower plant motif in Iris's character design. That was partially inspired by the long history that had been used of herbs and plant and aromas that has in Britain, but also because the idea of blending herbal teas fits naturally with Sholmes' chemistry-based investigation techniques. The goggles, gun, and knapsack are a set to match Sholmes' increments. The goggles in particular were part of the initial design and always intended not just a cute addition, but lend a dubious air to Iris's appearance, to make people think that there's more to her than meets the eye.
Let's get the 10-year-old a gun.
Yeah.
Translation, spoiler alert, there isn't.
Iris...
You see exactly what you get. A 10-year-old with a gun.
Pretty much, yeah. Iris and Sholmes' investigation are, as for the rule, far more advanced in the science and technology in the era where the game is set. Oh, gosh, lots of reading. Ugh. The Frivolous Flask was considered a magical bottle at the time, but the game's late Victorian setting, Iris and Sholmes have already developed one and made use of it in their daily lives. Though technology advanced, the appearance of the invention flows from the typical style of the era. Iris carries a gun she's developed, the Aroma 1, in her knapsack.
There's a name for the gun?
The Aroma 1, yep.
Look at this highly advanced bottle.
No, not even that. Yo, the bottle. Oh, we're gonna make it a magic bottle. What?
She's a witch, I tell you!
Not just any bottle, a special bottle.
To see who's the thirstiest.
Spoiler, it's always you. What do you mean always? We mean always you. They know who I'm talking about.
These are the felt dolls Iris has attached to her knapsack. They are a bear based on Iris, and Sholmes was originally going to be very instrumental in the story and shown in close-up detail. I gave... lot of reading. My gosh. I gave a great deal of thought to their construction while trying to give them as fun as possible. They're a particular favorite of mine, which is why they appear in like so many of the drawings at this point.
I love how they mentioned in the first game we were actually going to plan these to be really important. Final case.
Yeah.
Hold the Leers!
And then this illustration was from a time when Iris had a hat for her out and about clothing. At this stage, her character hadn't been finalized, so I drew her older than the final game, where she looked at a more ladylike air.
She looks way more like a smug 13-year-old.
You know what it is? It kind of feels like Haru's child would look like this kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Nah. You see. Lack of forehead.
Oh no, she has bangs.
Well, if we cut the hair a little bit on this far right one.
Oh, you know what? You're right. She learned from her mom. She's like, she let her mom just go. I ain't dealing with that.
I'll be honest. This definitely fits a more like if Iris gets older, this would be her design.
I do really like this design. I wish it would kind of be used on another character or stuff like that. But like, this is a really cool design. Oh god, very Madoka magical looking one. These sketches were done when I was exploring the elements of a magical girl to incorporate in Iris' character design as a way of giving her more punch. She has a much brighter look than her previous illustration. Yeah. Like, I easily think of Madoka with these two right ones. Easily.
Look at these Leia buns.
This illustration I drew when Iris was almost complete. It contains the key elements that make up her design, though her face is a little more mature than the final cut. In the end, I gave her a slightly brighter and more bubbly expression and included some additional ladylike touches to produce the young Miss Iris Wilson that you all know from the game.
Let's give her a giant-ass bow hair.
Let's make it hell to model that thing. Let's do that.
But hey, model it right once, and we don't have to do it for a while.
Yeah.
This is why Iris is never in anime cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look at Iris. Would you want to draw that?
Nah.
No, people like, oh, we don't have the budget to do anime cutscenes in DGS2. Also internally, oh, thank God.
Oh, thank God. Alright. The basic theme of Kazuma's design was a classic Japanese band. His constantly billowing, Hayachi headband is there to differentiate him from Ryunosuke, giving him a more confident and combative energy. There's no doubt that wherever Kazuma is, the wind of change is blowing. Let's see if there's any...
Including, especially when he's in a coma.
While Kazuma clearly has the spirit of a samurai, he's also keen aware as a visiting student hopeful of a shift in cultural attire arising in the Meiji Restoration. The addition of leather gaiters and sword belt are influences from the Western world highlight the character's social awareness.
I'm gonna be the most absolute Chad you ever see.
I desperately wanted to draw Kazuma in the art drawing of Blade, so I included that in the key visual. With the exception of some dramatic finger-pointing in court, there's little opportunity in the Ace Attorney series to draw pictures this grand, sweeping gestures like this, so I'm always looking for an excuse. And I'm particularly pleased that I could really go to town with this picture of Kazuma at this large of a scale. So yeah, like the full picture right here from the box art.
Yo, where are his legs? My legs!
Yo, where are this man's legs?
No, wait, no, go back. That's why he's sweeping. He's like, yo, check this out. Oh, my legs!
Oh, my legs!
I just wanted to draw this because I wanted to draw something cool.
Now this looks, the guy looks like...
That looks like Godo.
That looks like a totally different character.
That looks like Godo from 13 Sentinels more than anything, I would say on that one. These are some sketches I did during the transition phase where we were considering who should have glasses. Eventually, we settled on it being Satoru Hasanaga. Gucci doesn't count. Whose design I also was working on at the time. So Kazuma ended up just having his Hamachi headband instead. But for a while, competition for who would become the bisexual one was fierce.
Imagine, like, glasses Kazuma prosecutor outfit.
Look really weird, honestly, on that, I feel.
Let's make it more Edgeworth.
Yeah. With the combination of the headband and glasses, Kazuma took on a far too studious look. Although I was pleased to explore the possibility, this was a drawing that was convinced that this wasn't the right approach. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, it feels like a bit too much with this design. Like, there's just a few too many elements going on. Yeah.
Yo, my Kazuma's edgy. This Kazuma studies the Bible.
This sketch was done when Kazuma's design was almost finished. I was hoping to draw both Ryunosuke and Kazuma side by side wearing matching hats and cloaks. That picture I'd like to draw one day. Now, actually, interesting, this is the time I can bring this up, actually, real quick, because, when you beat the Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2, you get, special images for, like, you know, clearing the games and stuff like that. So, the one for the Great Ace Attorney 1, if I can... Where did the image go?
There is actually text for the completed, there's actually, like, text notes for that, too, if you completed it.
Where did the picture go? It's supposed to be there. What the hell? Hold on. Gonna try and get this up for you guys, real fast, because I want to show this off. Image. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not showing up on OBS at all. Where'd it go? There we are. Yeah, this is the image you get for, clearing, the Great Ace Attorney 1, so it kind of looks like what he said he wanted to draw at some point. So...
Really nice composition.
Yeah, I really like this one. This one looks super cool. Again, he should have these coats more, because they look super dope.
I do remember that, like, I think from the DLC, he did draw a piece of them again with the coats. I have to find it.
Nice. Alright, since Cosmo plays such an important role in the story, I put a lot of energy into giving him striking appearance that immediately reveals his dependability and kind-heartedness, as well as his relentless determination. I really hope he makes a memorable impression on everyone who plays this game. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he did, alright! Especially in the sequel, my god. Alright, and then
talk about a character that comes in and steals nearly every scene he's in.
Like all of one
Yeah, high tech, I get it.
In the first game.
Loving it.
Despite the God of Death theme suggested for the design, I decided to avoid taking that too literally. Instead, trying to produce a character whose bearing and presence conjure the ideas of death and darkness. To that end, I took inspiration from vampires, werewolves, fallen angels, and, like, incorporating the dark elements into the man's design and bringing them all together to portray him as a member of aristocracy.
I played Castlevania for 2 weeks.
I watched the Netflix series. It was very good. I made the clothing extremely audacious, drawing elements from a variety of traditionally British ceremonial and military attire. I also added in some extra ribcage-like detail around the midriff. His saber is supposed to contrast directly to Ryunosuke's Japanese katana, bringing out the difference between East and West, the samurai versus the knight.
They never really put too much emphasis on the sword.
Does he ever use the sword? I don't think he does. No, I think it's just there for aesthetic.
I think there's an unused splice with him actually pulling out the sword, but that's about it.
Maybe they didn't want to be too much like, whatchamacallit, like Blackwell, because, you know, DGS1 and Dual Destinies were kind of being made around the same time, so...
Yeah.
But there's also the prosecutor for the crossover game that who also
oh yeah, who's also a knight as well, so...
Too many sword characters.
Yeah.
Yo, too many sword characters in my Ace Attorney? Wait a minute, I heard this one before.
As with Cosmo's headband, I knew realizing Van Zeke's cloak in-game would be technically complex, but I also knew it lent to a lot of credence to his dark persona, so I was quite insistent about it. The end result was the aristocrat prosecutor's flamboyance and Dracula-esque darkness are both instantly appreciable, and I'm very grateful for the staff's determination in achieving that goal. Yeah, I wish he got to keep the cloak more in trial and stuff like that. It probably was technical limitations and stuff like that, but I don't know. It just adds a much stronger silhouette to him, I feel.
I feel like Case 3 of DGS1 had the best timing for when he removed the cloak.
Yeah.
But it's like Thanos in Infinity War. He had Thanos he has the armor at the beginning, and then at one point he takes it off and never puts it on again.
Yeah, where he's, you know, Farm Boy fan knows for the rest of it, you know? Alright, these rough sketches were my attempt at consolidating my ideas about the prosecutor's image. His look needed to be more than just piercing, it needed to portray sad and tortured soul as well. So, something about, like, that one on the top right and this one. Like, kinda do. Yeah, I don't think the hair covering the eye would have been would have worked on that.
Trying to get that
Too
hair thing
edgy.
just right.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh, this one. Oh boy. This is a very early illustration I came up with that was rejected a lot of different ideas myself over a long period of time. I submitted only the one that resonated the most with me to Mr. Takumi and was given the go-ahead to proceed. Among the main cast, his character underwent a unique development process. I didn't show anybody my designs for the prosecutor, including the drawings from this stage in the process. God, yeah, he looks so... Yeah, this one definitely, yeah, looks like a very, oh god,
like
why am I
bird trying
forgetting
to
of
be
his
cool.
name? But yeah, the watercolor artist for Final Fantasy,
I can see the elements of the I can see the beta elements for his coat design. The blonde, I feel like just tried the blonde just to see if they contrast to Ryunosuke. It didn't work.
yeah. Oh god, oh! I like to consider...
Sephiroth!
God, especially that one on the right. Good lord. I like to consider lots of options in the early stages, so I produce a wide range of drawings from the start of the process. Even if I thought the idea may not be quite right, I put it to paper so I could come home with the perfect design. Yeah, God, God, that is just Sephiroth, that one. My God.
I feel him like, I don't know if this design's right. Let me just draw it first. Oh,
yeah.
oh no.
This proposal drawing I made before selling on the final design. Personally, I'm quite fond of this one. He has a more pained expression than the final version, his cloak is more modeled than a raven plume. I've always enjoyed Dark Hero, so I really like the elements of Van Ziek's design and overall appearance.
I like the design. The hat may be a bit too much.
Yeah, I think lose the hat and keep the cloak kind of deal.
Yeah.
I think the cloak works on this one kind of deal.
The cloak makes him look. He looks like he has wings. Like, yo, I'm about to take off. Watch me.
I mean, like, you know, constantly flying above, maybe as a status of so above the courtroom and stuff like that. Oh, also his insignia on this one. Like the two sides. Yeah. Yep. This picture includes all the main characters and was produced in the same vein as the artwork I came up with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, so to make it instantly obvious that this title was from the same series. It was used as a key visual in the early stages of development. So yeah, you know, very Ace Attorney where they have the 4 characters representing like each of the cases and stuff like that. Okay, this is just the miscellaneous part, yeah. This section of the gallery, I like to present some of the character designs and drawings of less major characters that was created during the development process. I hope you enjoyed them.
Can go back and lose the text window for a bit, because I remember hearing that middle design for Sholmes over there.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wait, isn't that...
That's a different...
No,
yeah,
but like, that's basically Saseki's, like, jacket that he's got, pretty much.
I do remember they wanted to have, like both, like, this wasn't included in this art book, but I remember reading where they wanted to have him both without and with the trench coat, but they weren't able to model a version of that for him, so they kind of have to ditch that idea.
Yeah. Alright, so... Now we move on to the contingent Empire of Japan. Yuji Mikotoba, he's Hisato's father and university professor, so I had to make sure his expression could be kindly and stern. I've established the cherry blossom emblem with the Mikotoba family, and Yujin's pink Horori overcoat class is modeled on the cherry tree in full bloom. The hem of Susato's Hakama trousers also carries family crest. Oh yeah, you can totally see like the more... I don't know if they had the Mikotoba twist planned at that point, or...
They did.
They did? Okay. Because, like, these designs on the right definitely look more European-inspired than, you know, the stuff that's on the...
I feel it feels kind of suspicious if you're going in after DGS2's like, why do they have a younger version here?
Yeah. I'd say this one especially looks very close to what he looks like in DGS2, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mustache really changes his age a lot, I would say, yeah.
You do look older with a mustache.
Akuchi, this character design crystallized in an instant. I verbally suggested the idea of a Kamaj Naptop to Mr. Takumi, and he immediately agreed. I made some sketches of Akuchi with round glasses on, since they were the norm in Meisei Japan, but it was just too much of a departure from this descendant's usual look, so I reverted them to normal-shaped glasses we're all familiar with.
We need an Aussie ancestor. Done.
Stupid lawyer! You made me look bad!
Someone without it, you made me look sexy. Oh, why?
The judge of the Supreme Court of Judiciary of Japan...
Traitor.
God, yeah. Did not expect where this character was going at all in DGS2. The judge of the Supreme Court and Judiciary of Japan, I decided to take a different direction from judges compared to previous judges in the series, to accentuate the military atmosphere of the Japanese courtroom at the time. Since he passes judgment on wrongdoers, I thought the inspiration of the portrayal of the Buddhist god Enema, then added in the beard and some flames onto the design. I made the golden gavel to style it like the traditional Uchi no Kozuchi, magic hammer of the Japanese legend.
That beard.
Yeah, my god. Imagine having to animate that one in like an anime cutscene or something like that.
You want?
I love he has.
You wanna know what they would probably do to make it easier on them? They would probably they would just it would just be easier to move it all as one.
Yeah.
It would probably get more frustrating when they have a scene where he's like rubbing his chin and then just go, oh dang it, he's rubbing his chin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kareku, since this man's a merchant, I initially decided the base design on the Ibitsu, one of the 7 gods of fortune and the traditional Japanese god of prosperity and business. But when I showed my rough sketches to Mr. Takumi, for some reason the idea of Kareku became long thin came up. So I switched over to the other gods, Fukuro Kuju, as a more fitting source of inspiration. I want him to constantly eating sickly mochi rice cakes which would get caught in his throat, but it seemed that was too dangerous to portray, so with great self-restraint I stopped myself, lol.
There is a way that some older people die in Japan. They eat mochi and it gets stuck in their throat.
God.
NASA, I was originally going for a stereotypical military man in the time in order to give players a clear sense of the era. He's appeared to be a regular smartly turned out soldier, but on his back he harbors a great secret. At first, we considered having Isna fold cranes in secret on the sideline business. But after fleshing out the details with Mr. Takumi, the idea of Idionosa came kicking and screaming into the world. The constantly runny nose with its expression of the pure nutrition children have at the time had to suffer, and Izuna's mustache was deliberately designed so it would be easier for young Ido to tug, lol.
Poor nutrition.
Look at the sun at the top. Look at him. He's just like,
And the course similarity between the father and son hairstyles was another detail not to be missed. Are you talking about like this one on the top here?
Yeah, that one. Look at him with his look. He's just like,
Yeah. Why, Daddy? Why? Why? I don't want to go to prison.
Daddy. I'm gonna starve when you're out there. Daddy, I'm gonna feed you when you're in jail,
Daddy, why are you taking all these L's in court, Daddy?
Daddy, why'd you get caught?
Hasanaga, from the role plays in the scenarios, I could sense the character had potential for further involvement, so I gave him more of a believable appearance than the other witnesses in the game. His design was built on the idea of a young man with fragile good looks who wouldn't be out of place in the most delicate of situations. The reason for the chick motif on the napkin he carries as a waiter at La Carnival was a kind of covert foreshadowing of Giselle's involvement, and because the restaurant was originally going to specialize in a serving game.
I'm surprised at how popular this guy actually is. I know that.
It's like he's okay. Like, I would consider him one of my favorite DGS characters or anything like that, so...
He's a guy who's very passionate about his line of work.
Yeah.
Ironically, that can go a long way.
Giselle,
this woman!
This fucking
Motherfucker.
woman right here. Giselle Brett being the first Western character you encounter as the story unfolds in Japan, I decided to make her somewhat bizarre fantasy-style gentlewoman who would leave a strong visual impression. It was a deliberate attempt to heighten the expectations or trepidation about the overseas voyage to follow. The mask she wears was styled to pair with the eyes of the swan on her hat. I almost eliminated the cheeks from Giselle's design on numerous occasions, but they made it through to the end.
You can just look at the design, you don't imagine final boss.
I know, right? I mean, Giselle is still one of the coolest designs in the whole game, I would say. Such a cool look. Alright, Nicolona Palvola. I designed Nicolona to have an immediately obvious Russian appearance. Her image was based on the idea of the Russian fairy, and I had implemented her beautiful, recite young woman in fair complexion. Due to the nature of the story, I was constrained on the terms of her clothing, but since there aren't many orthodox female forms in the game, I did try to bring out telltale lines of a young lady, even though there are layers of her disguise. Her feline friend, obviously, is a Russian blue.
Cat.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Not too much to say about her design. Pretty, yeah.
Self-explanatory.
Santa
Santa Claus!
Okay, now we move on to the British Empire. The judge of the Old Bailey, I made the Japanese judge quite severe in keeping to the fellow Japanese courtroom, so I decided to make his English counterpart follow more kindly to the appearance of the regular judge. For example, in contrast to the jagged beard of the Japanese judge, this judge's beard is more fluffy in nature. The wig, by the way, isn't just a visual gag, that's actually what the judge of the day wore. I also researched the clothing of the British judges would have worn in that period and used a lot to create the design that's more unique to the game.
Red.
Yeah. Weird seeing his side profile, honestly, because you never see that in game at all.
Just in case.
Jurors, I was given instructions that the jurors didn't need to have any particular identities, but just in case, I designed some characters with a variety of unique traits, and it was those designs that were picked, lol. As a result, there was a little difference between the jurors and the witnesses, which meant I given myself a lot of extra work to do, but seeing the courtroom battles that include both jurors and witnesses justified all the effort.
Just like, yeah.
That was a good decision on his part.
Yeah. Okay, Suseki Natsume, Mr. Takumi asked for Suseki to come across someone very nervous, disposition, and erratic behavior, so I concluded that his facial expressions would need to be a key part of his design. I approached the design from every angle, playing around with various different facial expressions. Even though he's based on a real person, the Suseki of this game has a unique appearance with some heavily exaggerated features. The emotion expressed from his eyes is a particularly important part of his design.
Twitch.
I had specifically asked to include a cat, but the sketch tricolor Kaliko at Suseki's feet was delighted when Wasagi was picked up and used in the game.
Yeah, so it's like, I just want to draw a cat for fun. You puts the cat
in the game.
Oh. It's a very cute cat.
Alright, John and Jean Garida, I really had to work hard on this pair since they're so intimately tied with the story. The guiding principles of the design was sun and moon silhouette, along with the idea of a pufferfish for Jean. Compared to the newlyweds, the Constable and Miss Bread, with their passionate love for each other, the Garadevs, as an older couple, I wanted to show a different form of love in their relationship. I do like this drawing, though, of these inside shot, yeah.
You.
Also the red mark on there for the front-facing one, yeah.
Yeah, people don't like her at all. Oh, hey, look!
Raleigh and Pat Brett, there was pairs of witnesses who appeared together in this game, but I had a firm idea of how I wanted these two to interact from the outset, so I actually worked backwards from there. I designed them as a single unit, 2 people moving and acting as one. The scarf goes around both of their necks is a good example of that. They were modeled off of the idea of dolls, wooden marionettes or porcelain dolls, and are supposed to have a fantasy world despite being virtually penniless, to bring out the genuineness and sweet personalities. Yeah. I do like that one of Found the right there. It's very cute.
Yeah. Brandon, the weird thing, they're originally just called Pat and Rolla, but the English stuff just switched their names.
Yeah, I don't know why the names were switched around for them. It's so really weird. Brandon, in the original game, the male was Pat, but in the new translation, the female is now Pat. At this point,
it's Patricia. I think,
Patricia. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know why they were swapped around like that, but, yeah. I was really hoping if they came up again, the joke was going to be me and Sophie swap the 2 roles between them. Was going to be the joke kind of deal.
I think they are in the escapades.
Flock. Flock. Tobias Gregson. I designed Gregson on some stereotypical Scotland Yard detectives of the days. His collar up and the obligatory packet of fish and chips out in his hand. As he's always stuffing his pockets, I imagined his hands were lining with pockets constantly covered in chip fat. LOL. Whenever I see him eating, my stomach starts to rumble. Did not think he was going to be the way that he was.
Damn it. What are you buying?
What are you buying? Inescapable
death.
What are you buying? Like, oh, he's an actual character for the Holmes games. I shouldn't expect much for him. Second game, you sure about that?
You sure about that? Also, it's weird seeing Gino without a hat there.
You're missing a vital part of your character. Where's your hat, young lady?
Gina was a character who underwent the most change of results story-wise. Originally, she wasn't going to be a pickpocket at all. Constantly, I had to redesign her in the later stages of the production process. Her outfit to portray her complete lack of money. Mr. Takumi requested I make her clothes not quite fit properly as well. That was the reason why her shirt is too large for her, for example. From my perspective, I always wanted to allow a feminine spark to shine through beneath her boyish appearance. Yeah, it wasn't until that I realized that her clothes were all disproportionate and stuff like that, which I found kind of cool on Gina's design. She's not very cool. Male Strongheart. I was aiming for the character who immediately palpable presence, whose bearing was overwhelmingly intimidating. My initial designs were quite militaristic, but Takumi asked for Mr. Strongheart to have an intellectual image instead, which gave rise to his current look, more reminiscent of a clergy man. His name, Vortex in Japanese, gave inspiration to the styling of his hair. There are also elements to the unicorns woven subtly for his design, since the unicorn features in the British royal coat of arms. For example, in his profile, the front strand of Strongheart's hair looks like a unicorn horn, as the example came to the side. I also drew from elements from other creatures, such as the Black Panther, to portray not only his intellectual prowess, but his ferocity. For his clothing, I decided to bring features found in the prosecutor's outfits.
So who actually wants to see his beta design?
Oh god. Do they have that in this? I don't think they do.
It's not... Like, for some reason, after this, they don't really show the beta designs for most characters anymore, so I'm just gonna put it in the main chat and, like, dear god.
Yeah, you could go to our Discord for that
Sophie.
right now.
Yeah.
Oh god, oh! Why is it? It looks like fucking Sigma. Honestly, like, I think of Sigma from Mega Man X when I see that design. What the hell?
Like, yeah, it's a bit too much.
I'm gonna put this on.
Wait, Sophie, can you also post them in the Twitch? On Twitch
I'll put it on stream real fast. I'll put it on stream.
I'm keeping it on. I'm keeping it in.
Yeah, because I think the so for VOD people as well, kind of deal. So yeah, this was his initial look. Yeah, tried a little too hard, I think, with this design.
Also, like a bunch of minor sketches, like there was.
It looks like a military general.
Again, that's I just think, especially with this pose here, I think Sigma, like with the really broad shoulders and the color scheme.
I'm glad they dialed back a little with this. With this design.
Egbert Benedict. This character was designed to have the appearance of the quintessential English gentleman. I had a strong sense of where I wanted to go in this direction with the character, so I put a lot of effort into his design and was very relieved when it was approved. His clothing detail with elements related to bricks and brick buildings, and of course, he has numerous unusual flourishes and affections to the surprise of players. So if you haven't seen him yet, do look out for them when you play the game. Well, I'd like to get more details about the other characters as well, but I think we'll have to call it a day. I really enjoyed our brief opportunity to discuss the game's development with you, and thank you for your time to read my explanations. I do hope our paths cross again one day.
AKA, play the second game!
Yeah! Look at this smug look on the right over here. Hey.
I still don't know what to think about him after the second game, just because, like, the jump of antagonist between the first and the second.
Yeah.
Like,
I do really like how the brown coat looks on him, though. It looks very stylish. Alright, so now, for whatever reason, this did not unlock for me when I finished DGS1 on this collection. I don't know why. Like, I guess it's like, it must be like the same thing with the, like, with the achievement kind of stuff. I don't know, but it's the image that I showed earlier in the stream.
I don't know if I can find the descriptions for that.
I don't think, have you got the image on your Switch? If, like...
Dude, I'm going... Actually, no, I haven't finished Adventures on my Switch. Dang it. Hang on.
Damn.
I'm
trying to look this image up. I'm trying to look the initial image up, but I had to get it from a YouTube video for that. But like, it didn't have the description or anything on it, so I don't know what it actually says on that.
Time to go search for a VOD.
But yeah, we can start at least with the DGS2 stuff. Brothers of Dawn, I turned in this iconic final scene at daybreak between Ryunosuke and Kazuma for inspiration of this symbolic illustration for their parting ways. The image of the sun rising between their crossed swords was something I desperately wanted to include in the game, and it turned out to be a very emotional and powerful scene. It hints to the futures while showing the metaphorical dawning of a new age of the law. Rushing towards their respective paths with conviction in their hearts, Ryunosuke and Kazuma dash in opposite directions from the rising sun, until their fates would cross once more. Whereas the two of them face in the same direction in Brothers and Ambitious Dreams, Brothers of the Dawn represents the visual and pheromonic counterparts complete to the rest.
Hey.
Alright, now the DGS2 stuff. Alright. Before I begin, please be aware there are a number of large spoilers. Yep.
Get out!
Yep, okay. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, this illustration was used promotional as a release, the original release of Resolve. In it, Ryunosuke strikes a resolute "let's do this" pose with his chest up and his collar out straight. Along with his armband, the katana, the university collar pin of his arm, I strove to capture everything unique about Ryunosuke in this roughly triangular shape with his stance. Iris' homemade suit, I often like to create costumes that speak to the character's backstory or personality over how visually striking they are, but that can lead to the design feeling rather uninteresting after the first time you see it. To avoid that pitfall, I remember wanting to make this outfit feel connected to the story somehow while expanding the world of the Great Ace Attorney. So I added in a few things here and there to spark my imagination and give you something new to find each time you play the game with it on. One of these elements is the little shrew standing on Ryunosuke's shoulder that Iris made. If you look closely, its head actually moves in tandem with Ryunosuke's, but perhaps that's a little too subtle. The line and cut of the suit were designed to complement the prosecutor Sogi, making them a fine pair in court.
Hey.
Yeah, so yeah, I still really love how the Iris suit looks on him, kind of deal.
I know some Let's Players keeps this suit on more than the actual main one.
Yeah. Alright, Susanoo Mikotoba in her previous outing, her character illustration portrayed her as an ideal refined lady. a Yamato Nachiko. So this time I thought to show Susato's sweet and spirited side instead for resolve. This allowed me to strike a better balance between Susato and Ryunosuke visually when they are to be featured side by side. Iris' homemade dress and Susato and Ryunosuke's outfits were both created by Iris. As such, they share a number of design elements with Iris' new outdoors attire and Shulm's regular clothes. So I suppose you could say that they're Susato and Ryunosuke's uniforms for the Shulm's Counseling Detective Agency. In keeping with the period, Susato's usual look is very modest female student attire, but I felt that it kept me from bringing out her full feminine charge, so I employed Iris' help to unlock that in his costume.
Let's make something cute.
Yeah, I do really love this outfit for Iris. It is so adorable. Yo, what is this pose Iris has got going on the right over here?
Yes, that certainly looks like Iris.
Yes. No, I think that's supposed to be like her pouting pose, kind of deal, just from a different angle. Maybe, with that.
I assume they had, like, the bunny mask up, but they didn't include it. Oh, wait, no, it's on the bag, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right there. That. Jesus, hold on. We need to appreciate that image right there. Oh my god.
We get it, you like making Shulm's high.
Holy fuck, Iris! Oh
Iris, you don't understand. The things I do to get a paycheck in this place.
The NFTs, Iris. They're everywhere. Oh boy. Herlock Holmes. I thought the draw Holmes shit is facing forward this time in contrast to... a lot of talking. It's publicity illustration for the first game, but as I drew it, it struck to me that the pose I chose wasn't very Shulm's-like at all. I suggested to come up with something more fitting. I was tasked to create a little teaser illustration in which Shulm's and Ryunosuke would stand shoulder to shoulder. At that point, it became vital I balanced their look visually. It led to what I feel is Shulm's natural stance, the three-quarters pose. Whilst he wound up standing almost identical at the same angle, I experienced a ton of deja vu. As I drew, I swear it's a totally different picture, lol. The insert illustration of the enlightened Shulm's on the left captures most of Shulm's hits upon the latest transcendental idea that transcends both time and space. Probably right as Iris is about to shut-eye too.
Iris, about to head out, Shulm's. No,
oh, fucking god. Shulm's Japanese jumble mix. I wanted an excuse to dress Shulm's in a Japanese clothing since the production of the first game, but I gave the second game and no such opportunity either. I started to give up hope. That's when I talked to alternative costume arose. I swiftly jumped on the chance to turn my idea into a reality. One of the three new outfits, Shulm's is the one I had the clearest idea from the get-go, so this was the first to be completed. Yeah. I originally imagined it would be something he could wear in Japan, so I even more Japanese in design at first. As it was meant to be more of a costume for Great Britain, I pulled back a little to bring it more in line with the other two. I also came up with the Japanese-style outfits for Iris and Von Zeeks actually, but all that was needed were three, so unfortunately those two designs will never see the light of day. Unlike Ryunosuke and Susato's outfits, which were made by Iris, Shulm's made his himself. Also, the mask he wears is not a typical Kitsune mask, but a Wagi cat mask. I would have loved to see what the Iris and Van Zeek's ones would have looked like.
Unfortunately, they don't seem to be anywhere, so
damn.
It'll be forever lost in time.
I do need this fucking image. God. This one is cracking me the hell up every time I look at it.
There's actually like a lot of like DJ2 has a lot of like small little illustrations that they didn't put in here. Thankfully that one did. Like we need to cut a few designs here, but we have to make sure we put in that very high Shulm's image.
I strove to bring out the cuteness befitting a child of her age more than the previous game's illustration. I also wanted to show off her knapsack and charms hanging from it, which both have been hidden behind her. Also, the importance was to show how she looked when paired with Shulm's various promotional materials. outwards attire. I actually designed this during the production of the first game, so I was thrilled to bring it out again after I put it away for various reasons. The jacket she wears over her indoor clothes is based on the steampunk aviators, to which I add elements to make her more resemble the little bear-shaped Lucky Charm that she made herself. Incorporating flowers and hearts into the design, I landed on the Middle Eastern motif and decorations on her hat, and while she lowers her goggles, she looks like her Lucky Charm. Yeah, actually, a lot of her poses are just literally straight from DGS1, just with this outfit on.
Yo, fam, can we actually have the traveling outfits for Ryunosuke and Susato then? Since you made an Irish traveling one, I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I drove 2 versions of Von Zieg's, one without his cloak, so that they may be used in early to final days of the first game's productions, respectively, to show him in 2 different lights. Unfortunately, only the cloaked one, where most of him was shrouded, Show the Reaper and Bailey facade was ever used. So I made sure that his Resolve illustration would show both his Dark Demigod and Aristocrat Prosecutor sides. I had also hoped we create a new in-game character model based on the open cloak look for the second game, but sadly it was not to be. There was a number of mysteries surrounding Von Zieg's pass to the Reaper moniker at the end of the first game, so it was a great relief to finally resolve them in the second. Being able to draw him as he is ready is now to show a different side of him to the Reaper was the greatest catharsis for me.
It'd be like,
my god, these 2 illustrations on the right over here, my gosh.
Yeah, I kind of feel like when you're not at that point of the game, it's so you can't show your secret art. You're like, Yeah, I do like this cape design.
Yeah, I think this cape works a little bit more. Definitely a lot more Dracula in it now than ever. Oh boy, here he is. Master Princess. I suggest given the idea of Von Zieg's a young male judicial assistant during the development of the first game, and while it was well received, couldn't be included due to time constraints. I made the suggestion during the second game's development and told him, it'd be hard to add a new character now, but let me see what I can do. I certainly didn't expect things to turn out the way that they did.
Just be like, so yeah, they had the idea of like giving Van Zieg an assist in the first game, but like nah. But then he's like, no, I can work with this. Hang on a second.
Man, it's really interesting because like that gives further credence that Kazuma was definitely not planned originally to come back. I think.
I feel from the notes here, they had the idea of Kazuma coming back, but they didn't have the idea of the apprentice yet until much later.
Okay. Originally, I proposed that his younger judicial assistant could act like a rival to Susato, and that he and Von Zieg would enjoy a close and heated dynamic, instead of their cooler, more distant relationship that worked rather well, I think. Visually,
Susato rival, let's go!
Yo! Visually, he was to serve as a backdrop to his mentor, coupled with the need to create the biggest impact possible when his true identity was revealed. Very, very little besides his mask was visible in order to create the aura of mystery. I don't know, man. Like
that cheekbone.
The cheekbone and the hair, dude. Like, come on. It's clearly Kazuma. I don't know about that one. Good deal. I don't know. The fact that you could instantly tell it was Kazuma right away. Like, yeah.
A lot of people do seem to like the cloak design, though, so there is an appeal for it.
I think I actually like this one more without the cloak, honestly, for her Asogi on this. Visually, yeah. Okay, yeah. Professor Kazuma Asogi, Prosecutor Kazuma Asogi. From a narrative perspective, Kazuma represents a theme of confluence and contrast between East and West. As such, his prosecutor outfit is based on Western clothing with Eastern flourishes. Another major task for me was how to change his appearance while keeping to the core elements of his design and overall form. For example, the swapping of Kazuma's university student uniform for a military-style dress uniform. Other examples include the replacement of his Eastern headband for a Western asuka, a tie, and his Japanese katana for a European saber, and his eventual use of both swords at the same time. His main colors take inspiration from both the Japanese flag and white snakes, which holds spiritual significance in Japanese folklore. His family crest, which is based on real Jano Snake Eyes crest, and his mask are both snake-themed too. He's also predominantly in white to stand in contrast with Ryunosuke's black uniform. I was completely sure that this was the way to go when I envisioned how the dramatic return would play out when he regained his memories. A bright form of emerging from under the dark cloak with a beam of light chasing a haze darkness away, and also, though he were shedding the dark varsity jacket of his past like a layer of old skin. Like Von Zeke's, the details of Kazuma's design serve to convey the affluence of the prosecution, whilst in contrast, the relative simplicity of the modernity in the outfit conveys a sense of progress.
Look at all these notes.
So much on Kazuma for this one, my gosh.
They heavily planned this one. Look, we gotta make this perfect, guys.
Okay, I'm just glad that the reveal, like, I'm glad that the reveal was just at the end of Case 3 and they weren't trying to drag it out for so long, because I think I would have been more actively annoyed by that kind of deal if they were playing up the mystery more.
I just feel trying to think, like, how can you make that finale without Kazuma in it? It doesn't, it's like you're missing the additional punch, since the actual person surrounding the event is not actually there to react to it.
Alright.
Yo, it's him.
Clint Von Zeke. Clint only appears in the illustrations throughout the game, but he's a key figure in the story. I approached his design as if he were a main character. I set about creating his design by retaining certain elements to create similarities between both brothers, whilst inserting new elements to contrast the differences in both Barak Yin and Clint's Yang. As with Barak's navy blue, Clint's red jacket is a reference to traditional colors of uniforms in the Queen's Guard, and was just the thing to convey his positivity and brilliance. First introduced in Adventures, the crossed swords in the Van Zeke's family crest were actually a representation of two brothers. Though this emblem was used in many generations, I can't say it will apply to all of them. Using a pair of crossed swords as a belt buckle also hints that they become bound by honor and glory, which is holding them back in various ways. The badge on Clint's crest is meant to serve as a memento of his little brother, which we're finally able to show and resolve. Narratively, I was able to make one very influential contribution in relation to Clint. One day, I very boldly proposed to director Mr. Takumi, how about we make Clint's hunting dog the Hound of Baskerville? At the time, Takumi hadn't quite hit upon how to resolve the Baskerville problem yet, so he wasn't even sure he was going to include it in the story. Therefore, I figured I had nothing to lose by suggesting it. Aristocrats often went hunting with their dogs back then, so it seemed like a period-appropriate way to show Clint's social status and charismatic personality and connect him to the series' specifics in the case. I suggested a place of a certain vital piece of evidence in a very specific location.
Hey!
Look at young Van Zeeks there. Look at him.
So tiny.
Aww.
So the hunting.
Look at this man
leg.
flexing up here. Kind of deal.
I still find it very giggly. Let's put the final piece of evidence in a sword literally called Karma.
Yeah.
Perfect.
His hair looks very different in these two right pictures compared to his actual art.
I didn't even think about that until you just said it out loud.
I guess.
I don't know if that was intentional or not because of Japanese language and stuff like that, but
I feel it's the same pronunciation. Not to mention the fact they did reference that they did make a reference. Kazuma did mention referencing a character took. Like a family took the family name of my sword. Karma. On Karma. Oh no.
Genshin Asogi. My goal with this design was to convey Genshin's standing as a head of the Asogi clan, a family of samurai warriors going back from generations. And as Kazuma's father, he shares various number of traits with his son. The first thin white strap of cloth that he used as a tie on his hair back, which flutters in the wind to change that blows around him. The second in his western suit and boots the dawns. By virtue of his willingness to travel to Great Britain, I felt he too must have had some progressive thinker. so I made the clothing resemble those of Kazuma, and of course, he wears the Great Sword Kurama by his side as well. In addition to these shared traits, I gave Genshin a slim yet athletic build to give the impression that he's very fit and light on his feet. Family Crest, Sword, and Snake Eyes was the theme that established for the Asogi Crest during the development of the first game, but seeing as they descended from Samurai and that was something I could use to hint at the darkness lurking in the depths of Kazuma's personality, I simply fell into this design as the most obvious choice. The fact that I could use them in a meaningful way and resolve that I could tie it to the appearance of the apprentice's design is something I'll raise a toast to my past self for.
Just have a eureka moment. Snakes!
I do love Asogi's like British look, like especially on that one right down there. It's really damn cool.
Yo.
Alright, what's next? Oh boy!
It's them!
Yujin Mikotopa. Mikotopa's surprising past is finally revealed and resolved. Of course, all his backstory had been set during the first game's development, so everything I'm finally able to share what I drew during my time in adventures. Mikotopa's western suit appears in Resolve was actually designed in conjunction with his Japanese kimono. In fact, the color of his suit is more or less what I decided the color of his Hakama trousers for me. Therefore, the real focus of this design is not the relationship to Susato as her father, but rather his relations to Sholmes as the great detective's legendary partner, Dr. Wilson. On the surface, he's a serious-looking man with a soft, animal charm. Young Mikotopa was designed to pair with Sholmes to seem more full of vim and vigor than his older self, warped in the aura of style and gentle kindness. Young Mikotopa is one of my favorite designs, and while I can't show him off visually in the game himself, I'm happy to share him here with you. The legendary pair here we have Sholmes and his partner in their youth. In my mind, young Sholmes is a very rough around the edges than he is now. Though I suppose everyone goes through that at some point in their life, right? And I like to think that's a thing. Not like the thing. Okay.
There we go.
Living with Iris, that his rough edges have been sanded down by quite a bit now, because of the people in his life experiences that we hold dear change us the most. The Mikotopa Step, the splashiest secret resolve dubbed the Mikotopa Step by the development team.
Mikotopa Step. Yo.
I proposed this way back to give Mikotopa a unique yet complementary animation to Sholmes' grand flourishes and gestures during their dance of deduction, without completely deviating from his usual gentleman ways. After that, a true partner with the confidence to bring their own unique styles and talents to the front.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see the designs coming in there more.
Baby Iris.
Yeah, seriously, look at these two stylish lads right here, my god. Yeah, I want that prequel game now really bad. I want that prequel game really bad with these two.
Calm yourself, Patrick. Calm yourself.
I'm going through it. Shut up.
Calm
Alright.
yourself.
Oh. If you want two more cute images, hang on.
Ryotaro Naruhodo, since women weren't allowed in Japanese courtrooms at the time of our game, it quickly became a question how to present Susato as a man. Design-wise, there were two options: a look so unique that neither the player nor the characters would know who she was, or the one where the player would soon figure out, but the in-game characters would remain oblivious. The first idea would have made things very difficult, and since there was no qualms about using the second, I was able to finalize a masculine look for Susato without any fuss. On top of technical limitations, I was not able to cut her hair considering what was to happen in the story after the first episode left design options very limited. Anyway, so the second choice was the most realistic one we had ever really had. I worked on a number of things to make the jacket a little too big and the sleeves a little too long to keep her design soft and cement the girl disguised as a boy look without overselling it. Remember me, Ray actually didn't exist at all in the first draft of the story. The only new character was to appear in episode 1 was Memio, and the defendant was Mikotopa, whose defense was handled by Susato. A series of thoughts struck me when I read the draft. First, I wasn't sure it was a good idea to have Mikotopa be the defendant, and also having him stand next to his own daughter giving her advice was the best way to represent his case. Second, the Yeah. Second, the whole episode featuring nothing but an old man wanting to make for a very dull color palette. Sure, Susato was there, but she was dressed as a man too. Compared to the vibrancy of Adventures, it felt lacking, I thought. So along with their feedback, I sent for my wish for a female student character to be added who could be either Susato's best friend or a younger schoolmate who absolutely adores her. This wasn't just for the sake of visuals, but to create a parallel structure between Susato and Ryunosuke, and the legal situation they find themselves in as respected best friends. I believe that this would serve to better build anticipation for players when they came to see the similarities between the first episode of Adventures, and show another side of Susato, adding depth to her character.
Yo, we're gonna make this character so important in the box art.
Yeah, God, and only in one case, and that never pops in ever again for the rest of the game.
Oh man, that one case.
They got her design quite on point. Like they had an idea with the bow and the buns, but other than that, the palette was pretty much on point.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like actually the coat makes her look more like a girl, honestly, in this. Like, I actually think I prefer the design a little bit more without the coat for Susato on this one.
The pink outline probably doesn't help, but
yeah.
I do really wish this idea was used more in DGS2. It's like I expect, like, can we have like one more scene with her?
Like maybe for some reason, like, Ryunosuke can't do one of the trial days kind of deal, so Susato has to step back in to, like, fill the role or something while in prison this time.
Yeah, because Ryunosuke fell off a bridge and somehow survived.
Got hit by a car by a horse carriage.
Go investigate, I'll handle it here.
Ryunosuke got ran over by a carriage.
I'll take care of this, pulls out kimono. Ta-da!
Actually, again, probably because of the 13 Sentinels stuff and, same era, but, like, this middle pose really reminds me of Miura from 13 Sentinels as well, kind of deal. It's like the same color palette and everything besides the pink up there. Oh boy. Seshiro Jigoku. Knowing from the outset Jigoku was going to play a different role in Resolve, I folded elements from the Buddhist god of Hell and Judgment, Great King Inama, into his design. I also designed the suit around the same time. The shape of his hat is reminiscent of the judge hat that he wears in the Supreme Court of Japan, and is unusually hulking build for a Japanese man thanks to his love of martial arts such as the judo and karate. The buttons on his suit also reflect Japanese and Buddhist imagery, such as the family crescent shapes of the Damara wheels, Rinpoche, and other 8-spoked crests in general, whilst his beard is shaped like thick lips of flame. The lines on his suit are meant to invoke a look of clergyman, similar to Strongheart. In the world of the Great Ace Attorney, a judge's ruling is not unlike the word of God. God, after all. Hasanaga, when Mr. Takumi was looking for ideas on where to set the Japanese episode at the start of the second gate's development, I suggested a seaside or sea bathing area. It was clearly not a setting we were going to be able to use in British episodes, and considering when the game was released, the original was released in the summer, it seemed like a great match. Although, I also thought it would be easier to generate excitement at a glance if we could show some favorites returning in bathing attire from that era. The first swimming suit costume I completed was Hasanaga. Mr. Takumi asked that I place something on the inspector's head, so that he might have something sticking out of the water when in his summary stakeout. After some brainstorming, I hit on the idea of a turtle figurine that with little cute head that would wobble to and fro. I especially enjoyed. Thanks to all of that sun during the seaside takeout, Hasanaga also looks healthier with this new tan. There are, however, a few spots of his tan clearly visible on closer inspection, like the areas around the straps of the Zori straws and the ends of the swimming suit around his neck and arms. For comparison, I provide illustration of his usual pale self on the bottom right.
Yo, got that vitamin D.
I do love Judge Goku's ponytail that he's got going on there. It's really good.
Why did they put the trunk there?
God damn it. They know.
Yeah, I wonder who's in there.
Akuchi, after his previous top knot was given the chop in the first game, Akuchi of the second is a man who's finally begun his own cultural revolution, so I was given the task of revolutionizing his hairline design. I settled on the look of a fallen samurai or Buddhist monk with only the small tuft he carefully nurtured into the new edition. Saseki was in a suit for his appearance in the first game, but now was not only back in Japan, but as a literary sensation. So as befits of an offer of that era, I traded his suit for a Harari jacket. I drew him once in a full kimono as well, but it was simply too Japanese and visually uninteresting. Plus, it took away from the sharp forensic gesticulations of Arasoki that I knew for, so I left the clothes under the Harari Western. The other reason is that Saseki still has much to achieve as a writer, so this was way too much to show the transition towards greatness. He's covered in kittens in his illustration because you can't help but think of cats when you hear Saseki. But actually, this is related to one way I thought we were to make Saseki's animations more amusing and cheery. I thought it would enhance the previous game's animations to have these 3 clinging cats cling even harder when they swung about Saseki's wild gesticulations, whilst I cried meow meow meow. But due to time constraints, we were only able to bring a little of that life into the credits. Speaking of which, when we settled on the seaside setting, I did consider putting Saseki in a Fudoshi loincloth, but that didn't go anywhere. Memino is a young journalist. I imagine that he'd be out in the sun a lot chasing after leads, so I started giving him a tan and a lean and fit figure and look of someone who's ready for anything to get to the story. The newspaper he works for was originally going to be called the Tetio Shiban, the Imperial Capital Times, but it didn't seem right to have a respectable sounding publication print gossip and hearsay. From his very grain-thin name, Memimo in Japanese, which means unhas-been, I suggested that he work from a small agency called Dayako Shinbun, 5 Grains News, from Dutekian, who has 5 grains. The bales and rice sticking from his armband are a reflection of that.
Nice.
So yeah, you can see the hair is a little different now.
The cat idea would have been cute.
It would have been cute. I like this cat right on his shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy.
Oh god, these guys. Oh boy.
Shakespeare, man.
Shakespeare. The jumping off point for Shakespeare's design was one simple word, Shakespeare. He looks glamorous at first, but on closer look he is the most preposterous, his strange stage costume, it seems. It certainly seems like the time period, but it soon becomes apparent how out of place he is, even for Victorian times. The thin veneer of his flashy clothes would suggest wealth, but he's actually as poor as they come. I knew from the beginning I wanted those gaudy, oversized gems to come flying off during the breakdown, so I deliberately applied them all over his costume. Along with the bottom jacket, I attached a number of bells so that he make a jingling sound whenever he moved. My iteration was to make him seem annoying and shallow, but when it actually added the sound effects in my vision of life, we found that it was simply too much, so we ultimately left them out. Meterman and Lady Quingley Altamont, from the description of his job, was going to be a door-to-door to collect Gasman's company money. I imagine Meterman as a worker bee, and as a worker bee's job is to bring money he collects to the Queen, so that's how the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas Company came to be modeled after a queen bee. I also changed the design for them to be a pair so I could put them apart in other boldly colored and uniquely dressed characters in the game, to create a sort of bee-themed uniform for the gas company. Alma's umbrella is obviously her stinger, although other elements include her waist sash and her Meterman scarf, which were drawn to look like wings. His head is in a profile somewhat resembles the shape of a bee in flight.
Popeyes, man.
Yeah, god, the red. My god.
Shakespeare.
You look at that red.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm checking any concept designs. They did try different types of hairstyles for Shakespeare, but yeah, the one they chose fits.
Yeah, fits the most easily. Oh yes, this is the content I want.
Let me get her concept. Let me get her early concept art real quick.
This is the content I'm talking about.
Yo, this is the concept that I've been that I come here for.
Toby.
Also, look at the middle one.
Like
so cute.
Without the jacket, yeah.
No, I mean like the dog.
Yeah.
The metal drawing on the dog. So adorable.
Wait, hold up. I'm checking. She has some concept art from DGS1, and look who was also planned from the very beginning too. I put it in Discord. Yeah.
Grabbing it right now. Oh, interesting. Put it in chat. Put it on stream real fast for you guys. Yeah, look, Toby's right there. Yo, I kind of digging this first one though, with like winter jacket kind of deal.
Yeah. I'm also putting her DGS2 stuff in as well, but I do like one of the side ponytail design ideas.
Oh yeah, I remember you sending me this one. I think when we got to that case.
The double buns were a cute idea.
Yeah. Yeah, the double buns are cute. I really like this one all the way to the right here, where like I think they were going more for like horseman like rider and stuff like that. Like, damn, that one looks cool. Good.
Yeah.
Not very Gina looking, but it's a really cool design.
Oh, I also forgot to bring the Cosmos ones up earlier, but I love that one of the ideas was a cat mask.
Alright, so for Gina stuff. When I drew her design, she was originally going to be a detective.
What is it? Okay.
Yet she appeared in Adventures as a pickpocket, so Gina returning in this way was her rising up into what she was always meant to be. For Resolve, I brought back a portion of the original Inspector Gina Lestrade while adding in bits of Gina's personality based on what happened to her in the story so far. My main goal was to bring out more of her feminine side by giving her a cleaner, more stylish appearance. I also gave her a trench coat to make her more detective-like and bring her visually closer to her mentor Gregson. Gina's horseback riding boots are a holdover from what I imagined her as a member of London's mountain police. I thought that perhaps she and Von Zeeks could make an entrance together on horseback. Oh my god, that would have been amazing! Holy shit!
Gina on a horse, let's go.
The distinctive buttons on her hat are from the hat that she used to wear as a pickpocket. Competitively, as always, Gina fashioned them into something resembling the goggles shown in Iris wear, if in any form only in her new hat. Toby, now the Hellhound, Chief Inspector Toby, Gina was always supposed to have her faithful canine companion, so when she was to return in Resolve, I pushed extra hard for her to finally have a dog this time around. Thank you! Thank you!
Yes!
Thank you! And since there's already a detective dog named Toby in the original canon, it was quickly approved. But when it looked to Toby for the stories, I found that he wasn't cute as I hoped, so I searched for an English breed that would pair very well with Gina, and made him small sweet puppy instead. Still, he is a proper police dog, so I gave him a tiny set of very sharp eyebrows for the color of the fur. I wanted to give the look and feel of a soft toy bear. Regarding the scarf around his neck, Gina's coat lining scarf featured a traditionally British plaid design, so I thought to link the two of them together with it, as though they were cut from the same cloth.
Dog.
Best boy
You know,
of DGS. Cannot convince me otherwise. Is the webcam delayed? What?
Webcam delayed?
Webcam delayed? What? What? You're only telling me this now? Like 2 hours into the stream?
I'm guessing it just noticed it was delayed?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me just get some stuff real fast on this. Okay. Alright. Continuing to keep looking at Gina's designs here. Yeah, I kind of like the pose they got going on for like this one. It's like a little closer to her main design.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I don't think she takes the coat off at any point in DGS2, now that I think about it.
She doesn't.
Yeah, no.
It's just for reference, I guess. Just in case.
Yeah. Albert Harebrae, when I first set out on designs during the game's first development, he was a brilliant teen scientist, so I gave him a wild and unruly hair like Einstein and gave him glasses to easily identify his personality. But Harebrae's backstory was to expand upon a resolve, and now with him being Von Zieg's friend at a similar age, I had to rebalance him as outlandish animations and expressions to better fit the tone of their relationship. From the beginning, Harebrae was a bright and sunny character, and his huge range of expressions and boundless energy were crucial aspects of his personality, so I would jot down various faces in the animations as I designed him. Adi Osman, on the surface, he's meant to be just another nice rich man, yet there's something clearly suspicious about him as well. He doesn't appear in the game for long, but as there were to be few real-time cutscenes because of the machine's financer, we had to make a fully 3D model for him. So I made sure to design him completely from head to toe, even though he mostly shows up in illustrations. But my favorite bit about him is his slightly annoyed and bored expression. As you can tell, I made Osman look affluent as possible, but his name in Japanese at the time was Richie Nadabe, a pun on why is he rich. But it was changed at the last second to Itara Migan, a pun on a great and useless man. He always had been Itara in. I think the design would have turned out very different, which made me realize yet again how important it is a character's name is to their design.
I just realized something. Did we just completely skip Viridian Green?
Yeah, no, Viridian Green's not in here. What the fuck?
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I found the concept art for Albert's section personality and his very different hairstyles.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. He was workshopped. He was workshopped a lot.
Yeah, I can tell. By the way, is the audio good now, guys?
Yeah.
If it is delayed, is my audio behind or is the video behind? For that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check real quick. Does Olive Green have anything?
Scrolling down here. Nope.
Okay, yeah, she does have a page in the art book. They just decide not to put it in. Like, it exists.
Okay, this is the one I really want to hear about for this.
Oh.
Eggnog Driver, story-wise, he was going to be an engineer with a black monocle whose hair color changes from black to white. So I made the transformation extra obvious. I turned the clear lens of his monocle black too, and loosened his neatly tied black hair into a messy sheet while white to clearly delineate his past self from the present. Him being an engineer gave me the chance to include some steampunk elements, and I wasn't about to miss it. The result of his mechanical gauntlet that doubles as his tool set on his left hand. The belts and plus and minus buttons on his jacket were electrical cables and electrodes. I positioned them to make Drebber's animation stiff and robotic, as he became this way as a result of his traumatic night. After all, you just have to wonder how frightened you must be if you ever find his hair completely white. It gives me something dark yet somehow likable, I think.
Yeah.
Look at that little drawing on the bottom left.
Yeah, design cost, it was quite the same. They apparently have added a bunch of mechanical shoulder things.
I do love all the detail in his arm.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's super cool.
Just has a robotic glove.
Yeah. Dispel's. Originally, Dispel's name was simply Madame. She was an elderly lady who was exceptional at her craft. But given the ratio of male to female characters along with their ages, in order to make the appearance throughout the game, I asked that she be aged down to a young lady instead. For story purposes, the spell needed to wear a cape or something similar around her shoulders so that she could hide an arm underneath. She also needed to carry around a bag or satchel. And because she was going to be featured in close detail during the dance introduction, I really wanted to make her design as striking and memorable as possible. As the proprieties of the Eerie Waxwork Museum, the spell operates under the outrageous idea that she would create molds of her subjects from real bodies in order to make her soulless wax figures look alive. This conjured the idea of black magic and alchemy, which led to her making her a witch. It may seem like anachronistic, but I felt that the particular and mild disconnect would help well within the Waxwork Museum. Plus, only in the world of Great Ace Attorney could I get away with expanding the visual palette this way, so I decided to go for it and gave her a complete witch-like appearance.
Hey.
Still one of, I think, the strongest designs in all of Ace Attorney. Just, like, not even Great Ace Attorney, just all of Ace Attorney. God, her design is so cool.
Yeah, looking at the beta stuff, like, they had, like, 1 or 2 ideas, but after that, they completely got the idea, like, okay, we got the witch, let's just tune her up.
When cons come back properly, I really hope to see more some cosplays of her go around. Like, I totally see people cosplaying this design. It looks so damn cool.
Yeah.
God, it's so good. Also, I want to see designs of this girl right here, too. So, alright. Dr. Scythe, as a key figure in the story due to her standing as Scotland Yard's chief coroner, I designed her as equal to that of the main character. I took extra care to balance her design with those Strongheart, Von Zieks, and the other prosecutorial figures, given their relationships to one another and the mood during each of their encounters. I approached
real quick, I gotta drop by here because I gotta go to bed for work tomorrow.
Okay. Alright, have a good night, Jason.
Bye.
Alright. I approached her design for the angle of a men's attire, as I thought she would have been the exception to the rule back to the Victorian era, working in a very male-dominated field. To that base, I layered on snake motif, since snakes were a symbol of medicine at the time. Her syringes are her fangs, as they lend to a cool, intimidating aura like a venomous snake.
They really left snakes here.
They really like snakes throughout this game. The long, tidy, curled piece of hair and movable metal rods as they coiled around the also fashion after snake fangs. Structurally, the rods are attached to a piece at the top of her head. The badge at her chest, as a heart and cross motifs, was designed around the word Chief Coroner. As she is the head of the forensics team, I gave her a lot of sharp, straight lines, evocative of Art Deco design to make her feel more modern. Gory is Scythe's daughter and coroner of her own right. From the initial draft of the story, I gathered that Gory was to be an eccentric young lady who loves to dissect things. So I tried to make her design unlike anything else in the game. The key is the imbalance between her cutie girly side and her darker side. While she shares a few common traits with her mother, she expresses her regular young girl side with her butterfly-themed custom white coat and fancy ribbons. Her mask is a steampunk version of a plague mask, which I used to convey the sense of the past and unique look at this game's world. Dr. Corky's sight... Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, still, Gory is like one of my favorite designs in the whole game. I absolutely love this design.
Yeah, it's the bow.
Yeah.
Like, the bow hairstyle.
It's the bow and, like, then the plague mask onto it. She's a very unique... Like, I feel like any Gothic girl design in this game just came out, like, really good for this game's, like, art direction and stuff like that.
Oh, I like the little butterfly on this. That's nice.
Oh, what butterfly? Where?
Like a little butterfly belt.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
I also did notice, like, the little frills on, like, her arms kind of deal as well.
Oh, she has a snake bracelet! Oh!
Bracelet? Wait, bracelet?
No, to the left. Courtney's design.
Oh!
Nice.
Yeah! Oh, God. Yes, it is my time. Come on, read my paragraph. Come on. Balthazar Balloon, because of the impression of sightseeing balloons at the Great Exhibition, I gave him a festive look that would look right in with the carnival-like atmosphere and incorporate balloons into his clothing. I knew he would appear alongside Gots in the game, so I added to his design toy balloons in the colors of the flying balloons. I gave him and Gots a combined animation where they would go where he would hand one over to the boy. Bohemian boy Gots. Gots is a child of the Bohemian royal family who gave incognito to London to see the Great Exhibition. Mr. Takumi told me that there was a masked king of Bohemia who appeared in the original canon, and he wanted Gots to be an homage to that character. For reference, he showed me an illustration of a short story of the dubious-looking man with a large, thick mask on, and asked I incorporate the mask into my design. Since Gots was the royal family of Bohemia, my first priority was to make it easy to tell that he's a member of nobility from a single glance, so that I add in elements of the main illustration to compete with the homage. And finally, depending on how you look at him, I wanted there to be a sense that he had been dressed in that outfit like a privileged and entitled little boy that he is. Yes, I very am. And I want my balloon, please.
Balloon.
When creating his character model, we paid particular attention to the nuances that his facial structure and translucent quality of his skin cheeks of typical European children. It was also important to make the lines of his facial profile and shirt cuffs feel elegant and refined. Fabien de Ruzo and Pipi de Rossi are the two ringleaders of the Red-Headed League, and so first and foremost, making their red hair as conspicuous as possible. From there, I created their color schemes based on the flags of their respective countries of origin, France and Italy. Being from aristocratic families, I gave them beautifully matching outfits with slight variations to show their differences. I especially like Pino's and his assorted expressions and animations. The pasta he slurps inspired by Italy and his red hair, but the shoryuken is there simply because we can.
Yeah, from when I first saw them, I definitely felt like these are just like decoyed Mario Bros.
Yeah, I mean we basically had an equivalent of that in the final case from DGS1, so...
Yeah.
Oh boy, oh, these guys, oh boy. Gossip huge fun, according to Mr. Takumi, there's a story called The Man with the Twisted Lip in the canon. As the gossip design was to pay homage to it, I sensed great potential with the idea of the man who twisted his lip, as it were. Gossip acts as part of buffoon in the story, so I wanted the overall design to reminisce a circus clown. Then Venus, I was told to match Seller, so I created a no-frills design for her. Sandwich was originally going to be a completely new character, but due to circumstances, I suggest that we merge him and Pipo from Adventures. I figured that it could be his new job after he lost his old one over the omnibus incident, so mixing elements from what we had to the new character for his old self, Pipo was reborn, sort of. Daily and every vigil, when I read the first draft of the story, I felt a strange sense of realism and charm from their marriage, and the distance between them. So it was a bit more restrained on how I expressed their personalities visually. Evie's pure love for her husband is evident in the way she genuinely worries about his disappearance and actions to take to find him. And knowing so much for the wife that loves him, Daily strives to keep her happy by hiding the ugly truth while leading a double life until the very fact of his life themselves goes into hiding within him. Daily looks tired all the time, but his eyes are full of warmth when he looks at Evie. That's the sense of sadness and sorrow I want to convey from his facial expressions. On the other hand, Evie's design shows completely open, and she radiates a perpetually bright and happy aura like the sun.
What's the story with the troopy hair?
Yeah, like, I feel like that might have been part of his breakdown that maybe got cut.
Yeah.
Kinda deal.
Oh boy.
I was like, God. Like, rewatching the VOD, I absolutely love Venus so much. I love how much of a sassy little bitch she is, kind of deal.
Little bitch. What a bitch.
I don't know. Just something really charming about that for a witness. Like, kind of deal compared to the other ones. I don't know why.
I think
Which
also
just kind of owns it, sort of, to help her out.
Also, probably helps Katja since Cosmo's a bit, like, probably has a bit more Edgeworthy qualities. It just makes it more funny. It's like, the truth, please!
Oh boy. Barry Caden, just from the sound of his title as prisoner governor, a tall, stocky figure came to mind. From there, I built in a few elements. Oh my gosh, so much reading. From there, I built a few elements of the daintiness into his design, taking him far away from the aristocrates of the stereotypical British gentleman. Other aspects he looked based on the prison motif, the various stripes reminiscent of jail cell bars, both in Caden and Vigil's waistcoats, may be a point of pride in their prison service, I suppose. Caden also talks with his back to people, so I really narrowed his waistline for a tight, sharp silhouette from behind to give him a rock-hard thighs and calves. There's a bit of backstory to Caden that we didn't get to explore in the game, but the prison's governor, he isn't very well liked by the inmate population. One day, Caden was attacked by his office by a few escapees. That's when he got the scar on the back of his head. Oh!
Huh.
And ever since then, he's had the axe and rifle and a ton of handcuffs at the ready in his office for self-defense. He also carries a smaller axe at his holster by his side for that reason. We wanted to give him a animation using the smaller axe, but the fact that he has it on him at all is quite a testament to the life that he's had. It's a vivid reminder that even when he's not depicted in the game, these characters have lived the entire lives on their own. Dragunov sorry.
That definitely sounds like background fluff that they could have implemented, but they couldn't figure out where.
Yeah, especially because he doesn't show up that much, honestly, in that case, so it probably wasn't a really good spot to put it. Since twin brother, so I hope you have fun looking at the similarities and differences in their designs. To bring out a sense of individuality, I used a little thick look of hair in the front to suggest that maybe he is slightly more naive than his older twin. I also made strychnine colors different from this, and at the same time changed the coloring of certain sister ships to match, making it a bit more cheap for his role as the stage of a most spectacular show.
We're on the budget. Let's use this character.
Yeah, just use it again. Oh boy! Oh,
hey.
Just first gonna appreciate all this art. Oh, I love this one on the left here.
Yeah.
Then breakdown ones. And then just absolutely defeated Strongheart.
Damn.
Male Strongheart taking its rightful place in this story, the Lord Chief Justice role and resolve meant that you could finally draw him fully as I envisioned him in my very first designs. Pulling in those circles of influence under one by one, he is the embodiment of his name, the heart of the Maelstrom. His role in this story is also the reason why his other motif is the unicorn, a highly intellectual creature that shares the royal crest of arms in the United Kingdom, with a lion possessing a deadly strength of its own. Strongheart's usual cane is replaced in resolve with the unicorn hammer that made a loud and unique clank sound when it's used in court. It symbolizes Lord Chief Justice himself in the final chapter of the story, and adds a certain color to the last trial of the Great Ace Attorney. Descent and the breakdown. As the story unfolds, the tiny vortex in Strongheart's hair starts to spiral out of control until that little unicorn on him moves out of place, and his overall shape of the hair transforms into an raging inferno. Yeah.
Vortex.
As a reflection of his anger, his usually cool and intellectual demeanor also morphs into a terrifying ferocity. Then after his breakdown, I wanted to capture him going out in an enormous blaze with nothing left to burn. It's a rather flashy breakdown, but one suited to the end of his story, I think. I hope you take a look at this sequence again with my remarks in mind. Come to think of it, the backlit Strongheart with his arms stretched out towards the heavens in the key visual for resolve is meant to make it look like he's been crowned with glory, but it's actually referencing his final scenes.
Hey.
Which I think is coming up pretty soon in the artwork now.
The TVs.
Oh, look at all this merchandise right here.
They have a real merchandise with the personas. Also, another thing. Asogi's animal is a cat. You made the apprentice a cat.
Whoop. Iris's Lucky Charms. From the popular pairing of the Rabbit and Bear characters in Japan, I decided to make a handmade charms and called them Harabi and Barris for Iris to carry around in her knapsack. And they were originally hung during all of Adventures, waiting for their chance to shine until finally in Resolve their day has come. Their inclusion into the story was just one of the requests I made to Takumi before we started work on Resolve. Besides Sholmes and Iris, I also create figures of the main characters. I approached their designs from Iris' point of view, and it seems though she thinks Ryunosuke is a bit mousy. As herself, she appears that whilst all pink and oh so cute on the outside, she fantasizes about being a bear on the inside. In the bonus episode, I offered the idea including Von Zeke's version, which was pronounced Meow Zeke's, and the latest addition to the cast, Hidiga, who was used in some merchandise. I feel blessed that I was able to create Lucky Charm design for each of the main characters.
Here we go.
Harley, Beerus, Shrewd Yusuke, Lapsado, Klazuma, the Master of Purger, Meow Zeeks, and Hidnaga. Yuri-chan mascots. I initially doodled Ryunosuke as a bit of fun during my break from work. So instead of my proper drawings when we officially turned them into piggy banks and stuffed toys. The retro chubby baby look is a throwback to the popular style of Japanese piggy banks from the late 20th century. So far there have been the banks of Ryunosuke, Urama, Yules, and Euro Zeeks. But what about the ladies, you may ask? Well, you'll have to wait and see.
Bruh. The tease.
I like the poutiness of the Van
Those
Zeeks
goddamn
one.
piggy bank faces. Ugh.
Oh my god, look at the little hedgehog version of
Yeah, the hedgehog is very important, guys. Very important. Meow Zeeks is a very cute design too.
Here we go.
Hey!
The Great Ace Attorney Adventures key visual. I worked to capture the themes, atmosphere, and general sense of the world itself in one illustration that embodies the whole first game within this piece. It's roughly split between two sections, with the images of Britain dominating the upper half, whilst the Japanese takes the lead in the lower. From the fully drawn blade at the Great Waves, lifting sakura petals onto the English roses above. In that way, I create a natural line for the eyes to follow that conveys the trajectory of the story as it starts in Japan and shifts to Great Britain. Ryunosuke's face hints at his iron will hidden deep, while Susato shows a slight unease. Their expressions show the story of their adventures ultimately comes to a close. So, just zoom in on that. Yeah, you can see the petals kind of going into Britain.
The cherry blossoms with the rose on the side, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, now for GS2. Okay, yeah. Okay. Resolve key visual. Adventures was the first title in the Great Ace Attorneys to diverge so greatly from the mainline series, its setting that the key visual focused heavily on conveying that locos and general atmosphere to the world itself. However, with Resolve, it was time to move away from that setting. So the composition of the visual works to emphasize the dramatic tale that binds these characters to another. Ryunosuke stands in the center with a look of strong resolve in his eyes, while Susato stands next to him, wrapped and draped around her shoulders. It's as though even though they were forced apart, fate has brought them back together. The top center represents a different time and shimmers with a golden light of a bygone era. From there, the light quickly fades to darkness shapes of twilight, and the mood shifts along the colors to reflect the relationships between and destinies of each character present. Cherry blossoms, which are often used as a symbol in Japan, swirl around them like an embrace of a gust of wind. The emperor nature of Sakura is laid atop is a metaphor of the petals that have fallen to the ground in adventures will be swept up in the air again and result in a gust of wind or perhaps headwind in Ryunosuke's case. All in all, I painted a lot of meaning into this illustration, from each character's placement to the overall composition and colors, for you to discover that once you finish the game, who knows, perhaps you'll maybe even find something new. Also, I meant for it to be a companion piece to the key visuals of adventures, so it make my day if you were to imagination to run wild as you view these two pieces side by side. Yeah, I still love 2's artwork so much. I think this is still probably my favorite artwork of the 3, I would say.
I had a lot of more fun with the colors on this one.
Yeah, especially like after beating the game, there's just like so much symbolism in this piece kind of deal. Especially like just pretty much in this top half alone kind of deal. God, it's so cool.
It's the one with the Gregson and Gino, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And then, here we go. I believe, okay, yeah, just 2 more, and then we're done. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles key visual. I aim to distill the essence of both adventures and resolve and blend them into a single piece that shows both the world and story of the Great Ace Attorney with this. Additionally, now both halves of the tale have been told. With the passage of time, I was able to draw characters as I truly see them in the moment. As with the other key visuals, I put my heart into capturing a lot of different elements into one composite picture. A single illustration that invokes the game's world and story whilst bringing the charm of each character. Because I were to draw each element separately, I should have needed something akin to a long scroll just to ink them all together. And really at the end of the day, I simply wanted to draw a beautiful picture. I sincerely hope that the key visual can serve as your motivation that keeps you playing, and maybe even as the key to unlocking some fond memories of the game once you're through. Nothing would please me more than if my art could inspire you to lose yourself in the idyllic world of the Great Ace Attorney. Yeah, this one's really good as well, but I do like this one as well. Like, I think my favorite part on this one is honestly strong art, like, in the back with, like, the light behind him kind of deal. So cool. And then just...
I like the way they were able to position Cosma and, like, symbols with Cosma and Baroque in different ways.
Oh, yeah. Of that. And then, you can see, like, more symbolism of, like, see Clint over there, and then, Sogi down there kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That iris is very cute.
Yeah. And I believe one last one. Alright, in closing, I'm personally fascinated with the designs and illustrations where I can catch little glimpses of thinking behind the form and details. So it's been an absolute joy for me to share even a sliver of my thought process here with you. Thank you so much for reading it all to the very end. Art director and character designer, Kazuna Yuri.
This art, I remember he drew for the anniversary of this game.
Ah, okay, got ya. And there we go! That is all the extras in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles at this point. So, if we head back to this at all, it would be with the escapades. I don't know when we're going to do that kind of deal. It will really just be if we have the time.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, but yeah. So I wanted to do this as a little send-off to DGS2 again. Absolutely love this game. I love this game so much. But,
I love the stock title. Look at this dock. It's the cool-ass dock.
But we are gonna call it a night, so thank you for watching, and have a good one.